Inside throw, touchdown! Kansas City! A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime! Kansas City wins the game!
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. We have a lot to get into over the course of the next 4 hours. Coming up in about 15 minutes, James Palmer, formerly of NFL Network, is going to be on the show coming up in just a bit. Joshua Brisco is going to be on the show. We're going to go through all of the moves that have happened in the last 24 hours regarding the NFL trade deadline. We'll talk a little bit of Amendment 2 that was passed. Sports gambling is coming to Missouri. No more having to get up on a Sunday and you got to make that trek just a little bit past state line and you got to make your bets on the side of the road. No, you will be able to comfortably bet from FanDuel or DraftKings, whether you live in the 816 or the 913. Happy to have you guys join us on the show today. I put out a call to the mayor of Kansas City, hoping that we could have him on the show to talk about the effects of Amendment 2. Also, I don't know if many people noticed this, but there was a statement that was released about the downtown stadium that understandably, with everything that was going on yesterday, fell underneath the news cycle. But we'll actually read some of it to you here. It was every time they give us a little bit of information, I think it continues to unveil what the real plans for the Kansas City Royals are. It did not include the Kansas City Chiefs. We got a lot to get into. Speaking of the Chiefs, we are going to talk about the Chiefs here coming up in just a bit because there has been an arms race in the AFC, and now that the dust is settled, I think we know who the contenders are and who has emerged in the AFC. We'll get to that here coming up in a bit, but before we do any of that, let's give you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Caller number 6, 913-586-7965. Caller number 6 wins a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They lovingly use 100% whole milk mozzarella, all organic tomato sauce with locally grown fresh ingredients, all made by KC guys who both know and love pizza. They also have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wine. So whether in the mood for a whole pie or just a slice or two, be sure to visit them now. Pizzatasio.com. That's pizza, Tascio.com.
I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day right here on 96.5 The Fan. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends that if you want some of the best pizza in Kansas City and you are happy that you can access the FanDuel app if you live in the Missouri side, keep it right here on 96.5 The Fan. All right, now that the dust has settled, I think we just saw an arms race in the AFC. Now, I'm not sure if this is a sort of indication from the rest of the conference that they see Kansas City as maybe being a little bit vulnerable and going for it. But the three teams that feel like they are the biggest competitors to the Kansas City Chiefs, they all loaded up for the war. So we know what move Kansas City had. Kansas City went out and got D-Hop. He is a player that they have coveted for the last couple of seasons. They finally went out and got him, and he has provided instant offense and instant impact for this team. You can argue that DeAndre Hopkins joins the Chiefs and instantly became their best skill position player, and that includes a team that right now has one of the hottest running backs in the National Football League and also a future first-ballot Hall of Fame tight end. D-Hop comes in here and gives this offense a different dynamic and is drastically different than any other offensive skill position weapon that they have. So we know how Kansas City has tooled up for the war. But then there's three more other teams that are obviously in this conversation that think they have a pathway to making it to the Super Bowl and knocking off Kansas City. Let's talk about those three teams. Number one is the Buffalo Bills. They went out and they grabbed Amari Cooper. There is not a lot, I think, that you can kind of poke holes in when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. This is a team that I feel over the course of the last couple of seasons, they have really, I think, seen the complaints about their roster. They've really seen where they've fallen short and really tried to fix it. One of the complaints about the Buffalo Bills was that they had Josh Allen doing a lot. was that you can't be your team's passing option and also your number one rushing option. They've done a great job over the course of the last couple of years in accumulating talent and trying to fix that problem. James Cook has become a very capable running back. He has 7 rushing touchdowns this season and is averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Ray Davis, I think, has proven to be a very capable number 2 running back. I think Ty Johnson's also been good as well. Josh Allen is running the ball less and less in those short yardage situations. He is taking less pounding, and they've done a really good job of keeping him upright. Josh Allen this season has only been sacked 11 times, so you are allowing your quarterback to get hit less. Buffalo should be a team that's maybe a little bit fresher down the stretch than we've seen them over the course of the last couple of years. Wide receiver was one of their issues that they needed to address. I don't know if you're winning the Super Bowl if Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir are your number 1 and number 2 options. Well, you go out, you make a move, you go get Amari Cooper, and you are hoping that by the time we get late in the season, Amari Cooper has emerged and developed as your number 1. You put Amari Cooper, and now you move those other wide receiver options down. You have maybe the best tight end in the National Football League in Dalton Kincaid, certainly in the conversation of how he's played over the first year and a half of his career. Buffalo is a worthy adversary to the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. You have Baltimore that is also loaded up and tooled up for the war. They went out and they made a trade to go get Deontay Johnson. If we are talking purely about the acquisition cost, you could maybe argue that this was the best wide receiver trade that we saw in the league. And there were a handful of moves. A majority of those moves just happened to be in the AFC and with these 4 contending teams. But you go get Deontay Johnson on the cheap the way that Baltimore did. You try to make an improvement with your secondary that is dead last in the National Football League, and you go pick up Trey White. Baltimore had a solid trade deadline. I don't think they got an impact player the way that Kansas City did. I'm not sure if they got an impact player or their impact is going to be as great as what Buffalo got with Amari Cooper. But when you factor in what they gave up to go get Trey White, also what they gave up to go get Deontay Johnson, you cannot complain about the value that you gave up to go acquire those 2 guys to try to help you down the stretch and help you get over the hump when you got so close last year in the AFC Championship game. And now I can say that the 4th team has emerged in the AFC. It is not the Jets. It is not Cincinnati. I don't think that 4th team is Houston anymore. That team is Pittsburgh. Now, I think you guys know that I am not a Pittsburgh Steelers believer. I was not high on them coming into the season, but as the season has progressed, Pittsburgh is 6-2. I think they have a clear and noticeable upgrade at quarterback, regardless of what you feel about Russell Wilson. And this is a team that I think knows its identity and can play to it. They haven't allowed a team to score more than 21 points in over 6 weeks. So this is the team that you know wants to run the football effectively. This is the team that you know is going to be well coached, a team that you know can play great defense, and a team that just historically is going to be there until the end. Now, the biggest complaint that I have about the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the second half of the season is, who have you beaten? Because your last 3 wins are against Vegas, the Giants, and the Jets. Not really a murderer's row. This is when we will start to figure out about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen to their second half of the season. They go on the road and play Washington on Sunday in one of the better games of the weekend. Next week, they go against Baltimore. They go on the road against Cleveland. I know that doesn't sound great, but that's a divisional matchup on the road. Those games are usually tough, especially in that division, with the teams being as physical as they are. On the road against Cincinnati, they still have a road game against Baltimore. They go on the road to Philadelphia. They also play Kansas City on Christmas Day. So Pittsburgh sort of tooled up for the second half of the season because their second half schedule is drastically different than the first half of their schedule. And if Pittsburgh is a team that wins that division and they sit as the 2 or the 3 seed, it will certainly be well earned. They still play their 2 games against Baltimore, their 2 games against Cleveland, their 2 games against Cincinnati. They have not played a divisional game yet, and you still got Kansas City and you still got Philadelphia and Washington down the stretch. So you play a handful of the best teams in the National Football League. But now that the dust is settled in the AFC, I think it is very clear. Kansas City still sits in a category by themselves. It's the best team. You're undefeated. You've won the last 2 Super Bowls. I don't care what the margin of victory is. I don't care who's healthy, who's not there. I don't care how the games look. Until proven otherwise, Kansas City sits atop the mountain. But I think we can now say going into the second half of the season, we know who the contenders and who the challengers are. And all 4 of these teams have made a move and geared up for the second half of the season. Now, speaking of the second half of the season for Kansas City, I think there is room for a lot of optimism, even in the face of a pretty optimistic first half with you being undefeated. Isaiah Pacheco is going to play in the next 3 weeks. Charles Omenihu is back practicing. I believe that he's going to play in the next 3 or 4 weeks. They should be getting Hollywood Brown back in the next month to go out there and practice. So a team that has been super banged up over the first half of the season, you were certainly hoping that the injury bug reverses itself a little bit, and not just you going to pick up D-Hop in the first half of the season and for the stretch run, you're also getting back Isaiah Pacheco, who has less than 40 touches so far on the season. You are expecting to get back a guy like Charles Omenihu, who has not played a single snap so far this season. You are expecting to get a guy back in Hollywood Brown, who has not played a snap so far this season. So if there is a team that you think could maybe improve the most, isn't it the best team in the AFC with the additions that we just talked about, with getting back Isaiah Pacheco, with getting back Charles Omenihu, with possibly getting back Hollywood Brown? So as we are seeing the arms race really start to emerge in the AFC, and now that it's concluded itself, the trade deadline, this is it for these rosters. There is no significant move. There might be a guy that pops up on waivers, but at this point, is that a guy that you really want, or a guy that you think is going to be able to make an impact? And it's also important to note that Kansas City is going to be last in any of those waiver claims. They would have the last pick in the draft. So if there is a corner that can help, or a pass rusher that can help, or a guy that hits waivers between now and the end of the season, I don't think that Kansas City gets any claim to those individuals. So maybe these other rosters can change. Kansas City's roster is not changing, at least in terms of outside influences. Any help that is going to help the Chiefs get back to a Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl is going to come from guys from within and guys that are already on this roster. And let's see how the second half of the season plays itself out. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by James Palmer, formerly of the NFL Network. He is currently with Bleacher Report. We'll get his thoughts on the trade deadline. That's all coming up. Keep it right here. So drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. We know you guys are the best in the business when it comes to the roofing industry, but what truly separates you from everybody else?
We have a great group of people that take care of our homeowners. Our number one goal is homeowner satisfaction, and we won't compromise the quality of our materials or the quality of our labor to do that.
If you want to set up an appointment with Manning Roofing like I did, check them out at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. Manning is my one-stop shop for roofs, gutters, siding, and windows. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
Kansas City is Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe on Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
I've told you guys for a while now, my car's starting to get up there in age. And so it was such a relief when I got to drive a brand new truck from my friends over at Max Motors up to training camp just a year or so ago. It made me not have to worry about the reliability of my car, and I knew I was working with the best in the Midwest. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the highest trade-in values in the Midwest as well. And you can shop online at maxmotors.com. And right now they have the largest heavy-duty sale of the year. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. They also have new 2025 Ram 1500s up to $14,000 off MSRP. Stock number S250009. So if you're thinking about that new ride, now's a great time to head over to Max Motors, whether it's maxmotors.com or heading down to one of the locations in the Kansas City area. Max Motors, your Midwest dealer See dealer for details. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 12/12/2024.
Come join me, Andrew Filippone.
And me, Patrick Peterson, 3-time NFL All-Pro cornerback on First and Pod for premier NFL coverage and conversations.
Our motto on the podcast is every team, every week, and we don't play favorites. Every episode, you get a glimpse of the entire National Football League with First and Pod. Follow and listen to First and Pod on Mondays and Fridays on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's face it. Nowadays, most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Shop Dell Technologies' early holiday savings event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Early holiday savings is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by one of our favorite guests. He is an NFL insider for Underdog, also Bleacher Report. He's not just a regular NFL insider. He is one of the absolute best in the business. Very happy to welcome back James Palmer onto the show today. James, man, happy to have you pop on today.
Carrington, I got to say something before we start. Nick Bolton might steal your job. He might steal my job. Listening to that little promo there, I'm like, Nick's got a voice, man, for media, I think. The soothing sounds of Nick Bolton to come into this interview. I like it.
Well, I mean, if you want Nick Bolton to do one of those drops for you, we can make that happen for you.
Let's go. I need one. Maybe even my voicemail.
Yeah, no, we can definitely work on that. So, James, let's just start with this, man. There's been a lot of movement over the course of the last 72 hours or so. We'll get more specifically about the Chiefs, but let's start general. Let's start national here. What was your favorite move to happen close to the trade deadline?
The one that happened on yesterday is definitely Washington. If you would have talked to anybody in Washington a couple of weeks ago, Adam Peters was pretty measured, wasn't really being all that aggressive, wasn't making a boatload of calls, knew that they're on the right track, but him and, DQ want to build this thing with the Commanders the right way through the draft and looking long-term. They found their quarterback, you know what I mean? It's headed in the right direction culturally with Dan Quinn. And then now you fast-forwarded to them being 7-2, and they're like, this thing's ahead of schedule. Let's make a move. And I covered their game against the Ravens a few weeks back, and you could tell the secondary, they tried to rely on some younger guys and gambled on a couple of spots, and they knew they needed help back there. And they went and, they had a lot of extra picks from the Jahan Dotson trade they made at training camp, and they had some extra collateral, and they went out and made a move for Marshawn Lattimore. I think that's the best one I saw, honestly. And if you ask executives around the league like I did yesterday, that was kind of universally kind of considered the best move that anybody made ahead of the deadline.
James, I know that there were rumors that Kansas City was in on Marshawn Lattimore. I believe that they were. But then when I saw the price tag, I think we know enough to say about Brett Veach. He wasn't spending that much. Maybe he would have gave up the Chiefs' third-round pick, maybe the one they got for the Titans in the Snead trade. But, I mean, Washington gave up a third and a fourth and also did a pick swap. Kansas City was never going to go through those lengths to go acquire Lattimore.
Yeah, I was told that it was too rich for them. But I think the telling part of this, honestly, and I think I find it very, very interesting, is because obviously if you ask around the league, people will say, Marshawn probably doesn't play at the level he was playing a few years ago, which was, I don't know, top 3 or 4 at the position maybe. He's still very, very good. The belief for a lot of people is that he can, a change of scenery was just definitely needed. His relationship with DA maybe wasn't great, or all the injuries that he's had. Really injuries? Has there been some issues? Will a change of scenery change maybe the player that you're getting? The 3 teams that were the most interested in him really was Baltimore, Washington, and Kansas City. I think those are 3 pretty good general managers and 3 pretty well run organizations right now. And I think that kind of is telling by what they all kind of thought of Marshawn. And the reason you were able to do it is because also the contract was restructured to where he was essentially playing for the league minimum this year. He was going to be playing on the next 2 seasons, which are not guaranteed right now, but for like roughly $18 million to my understanding. So it was a pretty good move to make. It just got way too rich for both Baltimore and Kansas City, who usually go into free agency, rather measured, really do value picks, will make moves. We saw Brett Veach make them, but look at what he gave up. And so I think that kind of is telling of where the 3 franchises are, in 3 franchises that I think are run very well.
I also think it's pretty telling. You mentioned like too rich for the blood and finding value. You know as well as anybody that Kansas City has been in on trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. It feels like for 2 or 3 years, and it feels like all of that pursuit was pretty validated by what we saw on Monday Night Football. I'm not sure if Kansas City wins that game if they don't go make the trade to go get D-Hop. He was a major difference maker in a Chiefs win.
He was a major difference maker moving forward for the rest of the season. I think it's only going to snowball in terms of the relationship between him and Pat. And so, to me, talking to people in Kansas City in that building yesterday, kind of, making the calls around the trades that are going on and everybody's having conversations, I was told specifically, go look at the second touchdown. Go look at the little look that Mahomes and Hop exchanged. That was a prime example to people in that building that these two are already chemistry-wise on the same page. I was told they really see the game the same way. They feel space and timing very similarly. And now they feel like with Juju coming back, they have 3 players that play really well with that understanding, that timing, that space in Kelsey, in Hop, and in Juju. Now they were very cognizant of going to the coaching staff and making sure that they could have both Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins on the field together, because, both are probably at this point in their career better on the inside. We know this coaching staff. They were comfortable in being like, yeah, we can move some things around. We can do some different things with these guys. Hop is such a feel receiver. I think it's a perfect fit, and they did plenty of work, like you said, over the relationship that they've kind of developed with him a little bit and pursuing him as long as they had. Mid-season trades are sometimes, not all that impactful right away. This was because of the intel that they did on Hop.
Right now, we're talking to James Palmer, an NFL insider with Underdog and also Bleacher Report. James, what can you tell us injury-wise with Isaiah Pacheco, Charles Omenihu? You also mentioned Juju Smith-Schuster. When can Chiefs fans expect those 3 players to come back?
Yeah, I don't really want to speak entirely out of turn. Haven't checked on it entirely, very, very recently. But the last kind of information and intel I got that Pop was going to be back by, the end of November roughly was the plan and the hope. Now, I will say this with him, as physical as they've run the football with Kareem Hunt, with, really all 3 backs in all honesty, and the way that they've seen the way that that's worn defenses down, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to feel a need to rush him back, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that changes the late November timetable that's somewhat in place right now, but I think they're in a really good spot to say we don't need him to rush back to give us what he really is the heartbeat of that offense, to give us what he brings because what Kareem Hunt has brought, what the backfield has brought. I think that helps them in a sense. And I think Juju's really close to my understanding.
James, I do want to talk about a couple of the other teams because I think what we saw was an arms race in the AFC, and the 4 contenders have sort of emerged. I don't put Houston in that conversation. That's just not a team that they can't block well enough and protect their quarterback enough for me to think that they're going to beat Kansas City in the postseason or Baltimore in the postseason or Buffalo or Pittsburgh. I think those are the 4 teams: Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. Let's start with Baltimore. They go out and they get Deontay Johnson for next to nothing. They also go get Trey White, who he's not the same player that he was 4 or 5 years ago in Buffalo. What do you make of the moves that the Ravens have made over the course of the last 10 days or so?
They're Ravens moves. They're Eric DeCosta moves. They're Ozzie Newsome moves. They're the way the organization has worked for so long. It is why they've been a really well-run organization for as long as they did. You mentioned it. Like the Deontay Johnson trade, next to nothing. They might actually get Deontay Johnson for this year and then a higher pick next year in the comp value than they gave up. They might actually get better picks out of this trade than they gave up. That's actually where it stands with Deontay Johnson. They wanted to get deeper. Zay Flowers has been outstanding for them. They wanted their receiving core to be more versatile and deep. They're trying to cover their bases because they've limped into the postseason in some years past and make sure that they're deeper as an offense. I also think he might take away some snaps from Mark Andrews, which we've seen some flashes, but he's also not the same player as he was in years past, coming back from this injury in their mind. So I think they have the ability to be a little bit more flexible personnel-wise. Great move for them. And then the Trey White one, it's like no risk, no reward. You said next to nothing on Deontay Johnson. This is a 7th-rounder in 2026 and a 7th-rounder in 2027. They didn't give up anything in this year's draft. Forget him. And so go and see if he can be something for you. You know, they have a secondary that has been lacking. You go get a little deeper in your secondary. You go get a chance to, you mentioned he played well in Buffalo. So can you go and find a way to maybe have him play at a higher level and make you a little bit deeper? They're just depth moves that I think most people around the league I talk to, think were very good moves.
How much gas do you think Trey White has left in the tank?
Well, considering what I just said in terms of the compensation and his role has been really pretty much reduced to not much with the Rams at all, you're just hoping you can get some flashes. You're probably hoping that, you're a little bit deeper. I don't think he's coming in, to my understanding, to a starting role. You know what I mean? Like, we've dealt with injuries in the secondary for the early portion of the season. We want to make sure that we just make this 53 as deep as possible.
Right now, we're talking to James Palmer, an NFL insider for Underdog and also Bleacher Report. Let's move now to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am not a believer in Pittsburgh, but I have to admit this is a team that is running the football very effectively. They might have the second best defense in the league in my mind behind Kansas City, and Russ is an upgrade at the quarterback position. Are you a believer in Pittsburgh? Because their schedule is about to get much tougher in the second half than it was in the first.
It's the toughest schedule in football, the second half. I mean, it is. And I'd keep an eye on that Chargers defense, too, by the way. They're playing outstanding. I think they're number 1 in points per game allowed. But anyway, I would say with Pittsburgh, this move, both of them, honestly, are very telling. Let's start with Mike Williams, who is talking to people in that building, is a 50-50 ball guy, a big body guy. They like the veteran presence. They think he's going to continue to get healthier as the season goes on because obviously coming off of the ACL. What type of receivers does Russell Wilson like to play with? Big body guys that are 50-50 ball guys. And I think this is telling that the compliment to George Pickens that they went and got almost tells me we're rolling with Russ moving forward. Like, this is fitting what, Russell Wilson does with us as an offense. And then when you go out and get Preston Smith, this is a guy that Mike Tomlin has liked for a long time. And I think he can be in a rotational role. It wasn't a great fit when they changed defenses in Green Bay. And now you get to be a little bit deeper as a defense to get after the quarterback. When you mentioned who they have in the second half, I don't want to misspeak, but my guess off the top of my head, I think is what? They got the Commanders, they have the Eagles, they have the Chiefs, right? They have Cincinnati twice. Baltimore twice. Like, this is a crazy second half of the season for Pittsburgh. So you got to be deeper at getting after the quarterback.
I mean, I've never seen a team that has a schedule like Pittsburgh has. I mean, they haven't played a game in their division yet. So just think about that, how tough that division is. They haven't played a game in their division, and they still have Washington, Philadelphia, and Kansas City in addition to every other game in the AFC North. That's the toughest schedule in the second half, and it's not close.
It's not close. It's bonkers. So I think you got to be deeper. We know what that North is like, right? It's usually, I hinted on it with Baltimore, the way they felt like they've limped into the postseason a couple of years in a row. It's because that division, man, it's a slugfest every week. Even though Cleveland is not, what maybe some people thought they would be this year. Don't sleep on Jim Schwartz and that defense, right? And Myles Garrett getting after you. And, it's a physical division. And now I think what they wanted to do is Preston coming in, and they get an opportunity to be a little bit deeper up front, because it's going to be a slugfest with them coming into the postseason. But they're going to get into the postseason, right? They win. They're over 500 every year. Mike Tomlin's unbelievable.
James, a couple more questions here. You know the Broncos as well as anybody. What's your feeling on them? Are we talking about a playoff team? The AFC wildcard picture is pretty competitive. There's about 4 or 5 teams that are in that mix. What's your early thoughts on the Broncos as you look ahead to their matchup against the Chiefs?
Yeah, long-term first, Carrington, honestly, is they're ahead of schedule. I mean, they're not Washington, but they're ahead of schedule on what they wanted to rebuild with Sean Payton. I mean, the culture has changed dramatically. They have a lot of young players that probably people outside of Denver don't know, but are I think a lot of B- good players. They turned the roster over. I think the defense, really what they were looking at coming into the season is how do we get better as a defensive line. It's a physical defensive line. I'm interested to see on Sunday. I wanted to go to this game, and they sent me to a different one. I'm a little upset. But I'm excited to see what the interior of that defensive line for Denver does against the interior of Kansas City. I mean, that's the best center guard combo in football that Kansas City has, and one of the most underrated good players in this league is probably Jonathan Franklin Myers, playing up front. Zach Allen's been playing at a borderline all-pro level up front. Then they have Malcolm Roach and DJ Jones. They got some grown men up front that love to play physical football. I'm really excited to see that trench battle between those two sides, because the defense, even though they had a really poor showing against Baltimore, that offense is unbelievable. It's very balanced. It's tough. Derrick Henry's tough. They were due for a dud because they've been playing great. On all 3 levels of the defense, they're very good. They're one of the better defenses in football.
That was James Palmer of the Bleacher Report. He was in the middle of his answer. Rob, you just hung up on him? You just got rid of James Palmer? We're done talking to him? I looked up. I was like, wait, hold on. He's gone. He's off the phone. Maybe he'll call back. I do want to hear his answer on the Denver Broncos. You guys kind of know where I sit on the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to end up making the postseason. There's only 8 teams that I think can kind of make that argument. Maybe you put Cincinnati in that conversation, so it's 9 teams for 7 spots. We know that Buffalo's going to make it. We know that Pittsburgh or Baltimore is going to win that division. We know that Kansas City and I think Houston's going to win their division as well. I think there's probably 5 spots in the AFC that are already wrapped up. And then you have 4 teams fighting for those remaining 2 spots, and we'll see who grabs one of those teams. I think it could be the Broncos. They're 5-4 right now. I do think their defense has been pretty competitive for the most part. I know they got blown out by the Ravens, but that's just going to happen to a lot of teams. You look at the second half of their schedule, I mean, it's right there. Now, they play their 2 games remaining against Kansas City. They have Atlanta at home. They play the Raiders. They play the Browns. They play the Colts, who are a team that could possibly be in that wild card conversation. The possibility for Denver to make the playoffs, Rob, is sitting right there in front of them. It just comes down to, can you get the necessary wins? They already have 5 right now. 9 will probably get you in as the 7th seed in the AFC. Can the Broncos win 4 more games? That's the question.
I don't think they can. And I think it is extremely schedule driven. I do agree with James Palmer, and he said it there. Hey, the Broncos are ahead of schedule. I believe that. What Sean Payton inherited was an aging roster that had a quarterback that had a bloated contract and all sorts of bad. And they have overhauled it, and they're a largely young roster now with, I know I get my jokes off, a young quarterback they're ahead of schedule. I'm not saying they're a threat to the Chiefs in the AFC West, and Chiefs fans need to be chewing on their fingernails for years going forward, but that's a solid organization. But I just think what has happened with them so far this year is they're a team ahead of schedule that has feasted on a fourth-place schedule. I think they eventually come back down to earth. I do think they're an 8-9, 9-8 type of team, but I don't know that you are a playoff team unless you get to 10. 10 feels like the safe number, and I don't know the Broncos get to 10 because they do still have to go and travel and play L.A., who I think is better than them, on the road. They had the Chiefs twice, who I think is better than them. So that you start to count up the L's, and they start to pile up fast. Maybe they can exceed expectations, but we saw them up against a top-tier team last weekend, and they did not look good in the light.
I do think that we've had a conversation with two NFL insiders, and they both have had the same opinion. I don't think it takes rocket science to come to that conclusion. I believe that the Chiefs were in on Marshawn Lattimore, and it just got too expensive at a point. If it was just the third-round pick that they got from the Titans, I think the Chiefs do that deal. But it was the third-round pick, also a fourth-round pick that the Chiefs, I don't believe they can trade. You have to have a fourth-round pick. So if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, what pick are you going to give the Tennessee Titans? It's kind of hard if you've already traded your fourth-round pick. So there was just a level of resources that the Chiefs, they just don't have the necessary compensation to go out there and make that move. What we just heard from James Palmer really isn't that different from what we heard from Matt Verderame yesterday, who said very similar things.
I think they were in. I think they were significantly in, but they were never going to be into that price. I mean, they were not giving up a third and a fourth and a sixth. That was never happening. Now, I know New Orleans said back a fifth. I think the top of the mark for the Chiefs would have been a third-round pick. I don't think they would have gone to a second. You know, could they have gone to Tennessee's third, which isn't that far from their second? Maybe. But I don't think they would have gone further than a third. I think that probably would have been the line of delineation. And I don't blame them. I think for most teams, a third-round pick was probably about the limit.
So that was Matt Verderame yesterday when we asked him about this question. Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, the Donkeys' defense just gave up 41 by the Ravens. You are correct. I would like to point out, though, the Broncos are fifth in the NFL in scoring defense so far this season. The Broncos' defense is good. It was one bad game. I don't really know why the Broncos played it the way that they did, and they just kind of got hit with the buzzsaw where it was one of those days that the Ravens just got it cooking. The Ravens did that same thing to Buffalo earlier in the season, too, and they're a top 10 defense. Now, I'm not telling you that I think that Denver's defense is better than Kansas City. They nearly haven't proven it, but I mean, Kansas City's defense is giving up 18.4 points per game, and the Broncos are giving up 17.9 points per game. The Broncos' defense has been pretty good, and the Broncos, I would say, for the most part, over the course of Mahomes' career, for whatever reason, they've just played the Chiefs really, really close for whatever reason. Now, a lot of teams play the Chiefs close, and the Chiefs always find a way to win, but my tone for this game is going to be a lot different. It's a divisional game. This has the definition of look-ahead game. You got Buffalo coming up next week, a game that everybody has circled in the AFC. If the Chiefs win that game, then they basically have the 1 seed locked up. Like, there are some reasons to come out and kind of slow walk the Denver Broncos. I just think the Broncos are a better team. The Broncos are in no way on the same caliber of the Kansas City Chiefs. But, I mean, there's 16 teams in the AFC, and 7 of them have to make the postseason. The Broncos appear to me to be a team that is at least in that conversation of being one of those playoff teams. They've been one of the more improved teams in the league. They've gotten decent quarterback play. They've got a couple of weapons on the outside, and they can play good defense. This game will be uncomfortable. It would just be uncomfortable. The Chiefs are not running away from the Denver Broncos. They just don't pack the same punch that the Ravens do or the Bills do. They just don't really run away from teams. So this is going to be a Chiefs game. It's going to be close in the third or fourth quarter. The Chiefs are probably going to make 1 or 2 more plays. The Broncos are probably going to get an interception from Bo Nix, or something's going to go wrong. And that's why the Broncos are a 9-8, maybe 10-7 team. And that's why the Chiefs are going to go 14-3, 15-2.
Let me ask you a question. Who do you think's defense is better, the Chargers or the Broncos? Because then that's the conversation for that 7th wild card spot going forward. The Broncos do have a legitimate defense, but I think part of that legitimate defense is they've gobbled up wins against bad offenses.
100%.
The Chargers have faced some real teams, and they're not undefeated against those real teams. They've taken some L's, but their defense is a little more tested by fire, and I think more legitimate at this point in the season. So if you ask me right now, Rob, the two AFC West teams that could make the playoffs outside the Chiefs, who are a lock, and the Raiders are out.
I think it could be both of those teams, though. And I hear what you're saying. I think we know, because I'm not as high on Pittsburgh as everybody else is. You would think that the second-place team in the AFC North is going to grab one of those wild card spots, and then the Colts, the Broncos, the Chargers, they are trying to figure it out for those last two spots. I mean, your questions about the Broncos, it's the same questions you have about the Chargers. That's just the way that the schedule has crumbled for the other teams in the AFC West. I mean, the Chargers' wins this season are the Raiders, Panthers. Now, they did beat the Broncos on the road earlier this season, and that's the difference between those two teams. They also beat New Orleans with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and they just beat Cleveland last week with Jameis Winston. So, I mean, it's not like the Chargers have beat a murderer's row of teams either, but their schedule lines up. They got Tennessee at home. They got Cincinnati at home. They play Tampa Bay later in the season. We'll see how banged up they are. They still got another game against the Raiders, and they still got the New England Patriots. So you mentioned last place schedule, third place schedule. Man, the Chargers have that too. Those two teams are just going to gobble up wins because that middle of the NFL is just soft this year. The top 4 or 5 teams are really, really good. Once you get outside that top 5, teams 6 through probably 21 in the league, it is very, very interchangeable. How does your schedule line up? Who's healthy? Who's not healthy? That's going to determine who ends up making the playoffs. Coming up on the other side, let's talk about Amendment 2. We've got the numbers. This thing passed overwhelmingly in our area. We'll give you the numbers next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, let's get ready for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I'm also going to take an anytime touchdown with Derrick Henry because he scores a touchdown in every single game. I'm also going to take Joe Burrow to throw at least 2 touchdown passes. He's been on a roll of late. You can use this same game parlay, maybe make your own, or use one of the pre-built ones right there on the app. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus pass, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there with information coming at us all day, every day. It's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrstormcheck.com.
truck drivers. Don't wait until 2025 to find a more reliable career. At Schneider, you'll enjoy reliable freight, a consistent schedule, the home time you want, and top quality driver support. No matter what kind of driving job or home time you're looking for, we have an opportunity for you. Plus, by driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy throughout the holiday season and into the new year. Don't wait. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm gonna have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This afternoon, expect sunny conditions with a high of 59.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. We'll get back to serious football things here coming up in a bit. But you guys know that yesterday was Election Day. And one of the things on the ballot, I'm pretty sure that you guys participated in, it was to legalize sports gambling in the state of Missouri. Now, you can already gamble on the games in the state of Kansas, but there were a lot of people that were like me. Every Sunday, you know what you got to do? You got to get up in your car and you got to drive to the other side of state line just so you can make a 3-leg parlay that you're probably going to lose anyway. Let me give you the numbers because this thing passed overwhelmingly where we live. So in Cass County, it passed 33,000 to 25,000. In Kansas City, Missouri, so Kansas City proper, it passed 78,000 to 43,000. It passed by 12,000 in Platte County. It passed by 12,000 in Clay County. If you add all of those up, so Jackson County, Cass County, Platte, and Clay County, if you add all of them up, it passed with 64% of the vote here in the Kansas City metro. I think a lot of you voted yes on this for the same reasons that I do. I'm not the biggest sports gambler in the world, but it's a hobby that I enjoy. I'm not out here risking my rent money on it. You know what? I keep a little money in there, and I just like to give myself a little bit of stakes. You know, I'm watching the NFL. I'm watching a little college basketball. I'm watching some NBA. Sure, I'll put $5, $10, $20 on there. I'll play a little parlay, a little something, just something to watch the game. Voting yes on this just made my life more convenient. That's why I did it. For really no other reason. I don't know about any of the other issues, and maybe that's why you voted no on this thing, and you were very well within your right to have voted no on this thing because you were worried about all the other stuff attached to it. I voted yes on this thing because it just makes my life more convenient and easier. I hate having I got to call Rob or I got to call Alex. You got to hit your boy up that lives in Kansas to place this for you. I don't have to do that anymore. Now, I have no clue when this is going to go legal in Missouri. I'm guessing it's not a thing where they're just going to turn the app on today and you're going to be able to make that bet from your couch in Missouri. But I do know that at some point coming up in probably the next 180 days, you will be able to go to a sports book on the Missouri side. They're probably getting Ameristar set up right now. They're getting Harrah's set up right now. Bally's Casino, right across the street from the Current, makes all the sense in the world to have a sports book. You got a soccer stadium right across. The baseball stadium could be, 5-10 minutes from there? So they're putting one over there in Bally's. That's why I voted yes on this thing. We didn't really spend too much time talking about it because I try to stay away from those things, but that's what the vote came down to me for. One just makes my life way more convenient. I was tired of doing that. I was tired of getting up and having to drive over to Kansas and sit on the side of the road for just a little bit. It was unnecessary time. It didn't make sense to me. In Missouri, you can bet on blackjack, you can bet on craps, you can bet on roulette, but I couldn't bet if I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. That's why I voted yes on Amendment 2.
Welcome to the revolution, Missouri. I mean, Kansas has been here for a while. Iowa's been here for a while. Illinois has been here for a while. Welcome to the future. I know it did great in the Metro. How on earth was it something that fans were sweating? Proponents, I guess. No, not fans. Proponents were sweating down to the 11th hour. I saw a tweet from Alex Gold. It was 7,500 or 75,000 votes was the difference? How was this so close? It seemed like a no-brainer. And maybe I'm just in my sphere and I only hear the ads on this station. I didn't hear any pushback of people saying vote no, vote no, vote no. I heard it when it was 3/8 of a cent sales tax time. I didn't hear anyone talking vote no. And yet, down to the 11th hour, close ballot.
Now, I don't have anything to base this with, so I at least want to say that first. So I don't want you guys to text me, no, that's not how it is. I'm telling you, I don't know. I'm just giving you, I went and voted. I paid my taxes like you. I get an opinion on these things like you. And from looking at the metro area, a majority of you that I'm talking to, and I'm going to guess the percentage is even higher of people that listen to Sports Talk Radio, you agree with me on this issue that you were voting on it for convenience. I just wanted my life to be easier. This makes my life easier. I'm going to vote for it. I'm going to guess. I'm just going to guess. The no vote is you don't really trust they're going to do with the money what they say they're going to do with the money. Because in the commercials, Rob, they made it seem like it was all the positives in the world. Hey, the Chiefs like this. The Royals like this. They had Ozzie Smith doing backflips in the commercial. They made it sound like it was good and that teachers are going to be so flush with cash and they're doing all this stuff. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know. And I'm going to assume that that's your number one reason why you voted no on this thing. You don't believe the money's going to go where they say it's going to go. And given the fact that it's the sports book and the casinos are controlling it, you know what? That seems fair. And then in the commercials that I heard, Rob, they were saying, well, it's not going to be like the lottery. Okay. All right. I'm sure it won't. This is different. I'm sure. So, again, I get it. This thing passed overwhelmingly in Kansas City. I didn't see the St. Louis. Didn't really care that much about it, especially since it won. It doesn't matter right now how it won. Again, it made my life easier. Rob, in some ways, it made your life easier. I don't got to text you anymore. How many times have I tried to hit you up in the middle of a KU game, but then you don't reply? This situation has costed me so much money. You know how many times I would have won if I didn't have to do that? You feel something about a game and you're trying to text your friend in Kansas, help me, and nobody wants to help you. I don't need that help anymore. I'll go get this parlay on my own. I haven't been able to bet on Sunday Night Football all season because of this. It made my life very inconvenient. We got rid of it. Well, I guess I still won't be betting on Sunday Night Football, but you get the point. I'll be able to bet on opening day in the NBA playoffs comfortably at home and March Madness. Thank you.
Are you surprised that the Royals and Chiefs didn't get more vocal behind this? No, it passed, so it doesn't matter. But you mentioned Ozzie Smith was everywhere.
No,
I couldn't stop seeing him on television.
They basically just made Ozzie Smith the mascot for this thing. They had Ozzie Smith going out there doing everything. I'm not surprised that the Chiefs weren't in it. I don't think the Chiefs care, man. I don't think they care.
You don't think they care at all about sports gambling being legal in the state, considering they're heavily tied in with DraftKings?
No.
Have you ever seen one of those Taylor Swift-arized videos? You know what's behind her? A big wall of DraftKings logos.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs are happy to take DraftKings money. They didn't really seem too interested in pushing it through. Other than putting their logo on something, what did the Chiefs really do to make you think this was really, really important to them? Like, we can tell when stuff is really important to the Chiefs and when stuff isn't. When it came to the downtown stadium or them getting the tax pulled, they didn't show up in that thing until the 12th hour. I guess. If y'all giving some money to the Royals, I guess we might as well get something. Here, hey, you, what's your name? Hey, can you draw something up for the poors? Hey, we just give them something. Give them something. Here, go out there. You sure? Like, what do you want me to do? You got anything specific? No, just give him something. I don't know if the Chiefs care too much. Now, I will say this, and maybe I want to ask the mayor this. Does it make it more likely that they keep the Royals in Kansas City? Does it make it more likely that they keep the Chiefs in Kansas City? We have known about this from the beginning, that Kansas has been taking some of the money that they get from sports gambling, and they have been putting it towards trying to build new Arrowhead Stadium. Is the state of Missouri planning on doing something similar? Because that's not the message I heard in theirs. It was, if you make a parlay, teachers are going to get more money. That's what I heard. That's how they made it seem. They made it seem like if you are now interested in putting parlays, they're going to give you kids new books and new rulers. I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
That is true. They really hammered home it's a constitutional guarantee it's going to students and teachers.
That's what they said.
They added extra syllables to guarantee to make sure it got through.
Somebody said the Chiefs had Tony G in commercials. I'm going to be real with you guys. I never saw those commercials on television.
And by the way,
I know those commercials existed. Ozzie Smith was on commercials all the time.
By the way, was it smart to have Tony Gonzalez?
They had to pick somebody.
Hey, who's someone we used to like but don't anymore? I got the guy.
Yeah, they had to find somebody. He don't even live here. I believe Ozzie lives in St. Louis. Tony Gonzalez don't live here. Why is he arguing for this? They had to find somebody. Yeah, no, the Chiefs, they gave a very half-ass effort. It worked, though. It passed. They're not going to do a recount for it. Sports gambling is going to be legal in the state of Missouri. All right, coming up on the other side, let's get back to football. Let's get back to the trade deadline. I have a question to ask you guys. Let's say that it's the first postseason game for the Chiefs. And let's say that Isaiah Pacheco is healthy, and let's say Kareem Hunt is healthy, and they run the ball 20 times. How would you divvy up the carries between those two individuals? How many carries are you giving Kareem Hunt in this scenario? How many carries are you giving Isaiah Pacheco? I'll give you my answer next. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Hey, Chiefs fans, this season it's time to share your gratitude. We want to hear from you about the Chiefs player you're thankful for. Call in and tell us your favorite Chiefs player and why they mean so much to you. Not only will you get to shout out your favorite player, but you'll also qualify to win $500 in Hy-Vee gift cards. That's right, $500 to spend on your favorite groceries, game day snacks, and more. Only at Hy-Vee. So, who's the Chief you're thankful for? Dial in now and share your story.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home, we have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's Enhanced Network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskey, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selections that are handcrafted by our team and bottled just for you. Supply is limited. Cheers!
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays starting at 2 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, let's do a couple of things before Joshua Brisco joins us on the show coming up in just a bit. I do want to talk a little bit of college football in this segment. The first college football playoff rankings are out, and the rankings, I think, give us a really good picture of what to expect moving forward. I know there's going to be a lot of change, but I think the committee is kind of already giving you an idea of what they're going to be looking for as we get closer to deciding who has a chance to play for the college football playoff. All right, this is my question, 913-586-7965. I know we're looking ahead, but you know what? It's a Wednesday. We'll start talking about the Broncos more tomorrow. Let's say that it is the first game of the postseason, and both running backs are healthy. Kareem Hunt is healthy. Isaiah Pacheco is healthy. Both guys are ready to go and ready to help the Chiefs get back to and win another Super Bowl. Let's say that they run the ball between the two of them 20 times in the games. How would you divvy up the carries? Out of those 20, how many are you giving Kareem Hunt? Out of those, how many are you giving to Isaiah Pacheco? Now, granted, we don't know the game flow situation. Work with me here, people. Work with me here. I think the split should be somewhere between 13-7, 14-6. I do think that Isaiah Pacheco is the more explosive of the two back. I think if you run the ball on first down, you have a better chance of getting more yards from Isaiah Pacheco than you do from Kareem Hunt. But I do think that Kareem has a very necessary role for this team and could also really go a long way in keeping Isaiah Pacheco fresh down the stretch. You now have the ability to kind of work Isaiah Pacheco back and into your offense, and you don't need to throw him into the deep end of the pool because you can continue to give Kareem Hunt the carries. So that's how I would do it. I think we now know who your short yardage back can be in this situation, who your red zone back can be in this situation. I also think we'll see some scenarios where both of those guys are in the backfield and you can either have one of them go out for a route to capable pass catchers, or you can really do some creative things having both of them in the lineup because you have to expect the explosiveness that both of them have. I still think that Pacheco is the better back of the two. I think he is the more explosive back of the two. I would say that it's probably in the 13-7, 14-6 range. Where are you at, Rob?
We're in the same ballpark. I have it 14-6 or 15-5, Isaiah Pacheco. I know Kareem Hunt had two bigger runs on Monday night against the Bucs, but going into Monday night, he had the same amount of 15-yard plus runs as Isaiah Pacheco while having light years more carries. The thing about Kareem Hunt, which has been great, is all the deep cut nerd core analytics stats talk about how efficient he is running the football. And he is very efficient. I believe those stats. But he's not explosive. He was more explosive Monday, but he is just not an explosive player. He had 27 carries. He had under 4 yards a carry again on Monday. He is a workhorse. He is a 3 yards in a cloud of dust guy. And the Chiefs are maximizing the value of that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But in the postseason, you need a guy to break off a 6, 7, 8, a 15, 16, 17-yard run. And Isaiah Pacheco is more capable of that. So I'm 14-6, maybe 15-5 Pacheco. But let those 5 that Hunt or 6 that Hunt gets, let him be a sledgehammer in there, wearing out the defense for Pacheco to get bigger runs. But I think you have to give Pacheco the bulk of the carries, assuming he is, in fact, the healthier at full health.
Yeah, one thing about this conversation, and I certainly get why people feel that way about him, is we've never seen the Chiefs give this level of commitment to Isaiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt has 97 carries in their last 4 games. You give me any time where over a span of a month, they gave the ball to Isaiah Pacheco 25 times a game. They've never shown that. Now, maybe some of this is nostalgia with Kareem Hunt, but, I mean, in those games, the usage has definitely been there. He's never had more than 4 yards a carry, and over those last 97 carries, he's averaging 3.56 per yards. So this is not me. I like Isaiah. I like Kareem Hunt. I think he has a clear, defined role on this team. He's not Isaiah Pacheco, though. You're not going to get that explosiveness. You're not going to get that big play. You're not going to get that bang from him. But you can still take a lot of the good things that you like from Kareem Hunt. He is extremely reliable. He can help you in pass situations. He can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield, and he's reliable in short yardage situations. So there is a clear role that I think he has on this team. I'm probably closer to it being a little bit 50-50 more than you are. Like, you kind of want it 75-25. I'm probably more in a 60-40, maybe 55-45, just in the vein of keeping both of those guys fresh. I don't know if their wide receiver room is improving itself that much down the stretch. Now, let's see how you develop Xavier Worthy. Let's also see when Hollywood Brown returns, if he returns to this team. But I don't think you go from the wide receiver cupboard being bare to now you got one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. So this team is going to have to continue to run the football the way that they did last season. They're going to have to lean into more of what they are, and that's trusting the interior of that offensive line and running forward. But at this point, everything that Kareem has done, Isaiah Pacheco, I feel, is very capable of doing. He's just never been given the excessive amount of volume to go out and get these opportunities. I'd love to look it up over the course of the last 4 weeks. I'm going to guess that I don't know this. I'm looking it up here right now. I'm going to guess that Derrick Henry is the only running back in the league that has more carries over the last 4 weeks than he is. They've never been that committed to giving Isaiah Pacheco the ball.
I think one of the reasons why I'm 75-25, and you're a little more 50-50 than me, is that I think by the time Pacheco comes back and gets healthy, I think they will have used up a lot of the good football in Kareem Hunt for exactly what you just said. They are just running him at a level they have never run anyone. They didn't run 22-year-old Kareem Hunt at this level.
I mean, honestly, right now, the way that they're running him, they're using him like Larry Johnson in 2005. That's how he's running the football. They're running him like Larry Johnson.
That's partly why I'm 75-25 when he gets back. It just is not sustainable. So let's get every ounce of juice out of Kareem Hunt, and then when Pacheco's back, we throttle down Hunt. They cannot keep him at this volume and have it be successful. And I guess maybe it's just he has 1 year left in the tank and you burn it out. He's getting, I said it, he's getting Larry Johnson run. So I think eventually the wear and tear slows him down. And as that wear and tear happens, that's right when Pacheco comes back. And that's why I think it's 75-25 Isaiah.
I just looked it up here because I was just curious. I looked it up while you were talking. Over the course of the last 4 weeks, Kareem Hunt has 97 carries and Derrick Henry has 73 carries. I'm just saying.
Since when? He has 100 carries in what timeline?
Kareem Hunt has 97 carries in their last 4 games. Derrick Henry in the last 4 Ravens games has 73 carries.
That is legitimately Larry Johnson.
And think about the usage that we know that Derrick Henry is getting on his team. Like, he should be getting that. He's the best running back in the league. Like, they're using him at a Derrick Henry level right now. I don't think that's part sustainable, and I don't think you need it to be sustainable. I think you're going to be able to take some of the workload off of Kareem and give some of those to Isaiah Pacheco, and just ultimately it is going to keep both of them fresh. You cannot give Kareem Hunt 300 carries this season. That is just not a sustainable model. You don't need to give him 300 carries because I believe in less than the next month, so I guess in the next month, I believe you're getting Isaiah Pacheco back, and you're going to bring his usage down, and I think it's just going to keep him fresher down the home stretch. I hear every Chiefs fan tell me it's not about the regular season and it's about the postseason. Man, giving Kareem Hunt 225 carries in November and December, that's not going to help you late in the season and keeping him fresh. So just having a little bit more balance, I think is going to end up being a positive thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. Rob, before we catch up with Joshua Brisco, what was your biggest takeaway with the college football bracket?
Bama. The fact that Bama at 2 losses is still in, and there are 1-loss teams in power conferences sitting outside looking in, is astonishing to me. I know Bama is a name brand and Bama is Bama, but the fact that Iowa State, a 1-loss team, is on the outside looking in, the fact that SMU, a 1-loss team, is on the outside looking in, Texas A&M, a 1-loss team on the outside looking in. There are 1-loss teams that are in power conferences on the outside looking in, and Bama is, not only are they in, they're in at 11. They're not part of that like first one out category. I was stunned to see Bama where they are. Now, they might lose this weekend. They're in Death Valley against LSU, a place that has been a, house of horrors for them, but Bama being in over some 1-loss Power 5 schools really had me shocked.
This is the thing that I don't know if we have a recalibration for in college football. The only thing that has mattered in college football is how many losses you have had, and necessarily not the W's, really the L's. Iowa State does not have one impressive win this year. They are just a good team in a good conference. These are their wins so far this year. North Dakota, Iowa, Arkansas State, Houston, Baylor, West Virginia, UCF, and they just lost to Texas Tech. So they haven't played any of the good teams of the Big 12, and their non-con game was Iowa, a team that can't really score a whole lot of points. So I am happy that we are potentially getting away from the model of, hey, just having 1 loss or 2 losses is not enough. You and I agree. Tomorrow, if Iowa State played Alabama, Alabama would be a clear favorite over Iowa State, and most people would pick Alabama to win that game. So what metric are we using to decide who's better and who's not better? My biggest takeaway, honestly, was it was more about the mid-major team. And I don't think that's a conversation a lot of people are having yet, and I fully understand it. But I think you saw it now with the bracket. Hey, one of these, Alabama, Indiana, one of these teams is not going to make it because Boise State or one of those teams has to make it. And I think Boise State could maybe be ranked a little bit higher than where they currently sat. I saw Army at 25, and that scared me. What does that mean for Army, who is currently undefeated right now? If they beat Notre Dame, do they make the college football playoff? Or is there just not a pathway for Army to make the college football playoff? Like, there's still a lot of questions. Now, we still got a month to kind of sort these things out, but I do think the committee gave us a little bit of insight on how they're going to think. And at least this first bracket tells you, I don't know if you can necessarily look at how many losses you have. You got to look at wins and sort of the perception about the team. And I don't think the perception of Iowa State is that high right now because why would it be? They haven't beaten anybody yet. Coming up on the other side, we'll catch up with Joshua Brisco. We'll get his thoughts on the NFL trade deadline. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. I'm really excited to see if the Knicks can back up what they did a season ago. And even the MVP market, where Luka's the favorite at plus 330. If you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will automatically be charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering an online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Kansas City, it's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe on Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 11/16, in-store only.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellmann's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Your coworkers might annoy you, but we
promise we won't. Download the free Odyssey app and you can listen to us at work while you tackle your inbox or get ready for another meeting that probably could have been an email. Tune in late? You can rewind your favorite live shows to catch what you missed. And with Chapters, easily jump to the topics that you care about most, like the latest updates from your team. Your sports talk, your way. The Odyssey app. Download it today.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Got a stalled car, stopping traffic on the east side, westbound 70, the on-ramp from 40 Highway. Another stalled out car, eastbound 435, that is at the on-ramp from Rowe Avenue. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
There's a lot of people happy today. There's a lot of people sad today. That's just the way that it goes. I'm a little sad today. I tried to ban this individual from our show. But Rob told me that due to his contract, we have to have him on the show. Now, Joshua Brisco, I wanted to suspend you. I really did. I did everything in my power. I went down to HR and tried to make sure that you weren't on the show today, but I was overruled. I have to have you on the show today. How's it going?
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you cannot hold me down. I don't think there's anything contractually, though, that says it has to be a long segment. So if you just hang up on me right now, there's nothing I can do about it.
And no, you know what? No. If you're getting paid to come on the show, I'm making you work for it. You might be doing 2 segments today, my friend. You might be doing 2.
Wow, management, C-Dot. I didn't even know this was a part of you. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
So let's start with this, man. What was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway from what we saw in the NFL trade deadline over the last 24, 78 hours?
The shortest one is that DeAndre Hopkins was an absolute steal. Like, I don't need to see whatever the Cowboys are even doing to look around and go, oh, Mike Williams for a 5th-round pick. Like, that feels a little bit steep. Obviously, with Hopkins is a 5th that can be a 4th if they're in the Super Bowl and he plays like 60% of the snaps. The Chiefs would obviously escalate that pick 100 times out of 100. Everyone would be happy there. So what I think the Chiefs did correctly, and this is also possibly true for Joshua Uche, striking before the deadline bells started ringing, I think was a smart move, in part because what we saw from a few sort of, if not bizarre trades, even like the Marshawn Lattimore one, which I'd love to talk about, that was just expensive. It wasn't an absurd price, but it was expensive. The Mike Williams thing was shocking to me to see him go for virtually the same pick that Hopkins went for.
Yeah, I look at it as I think we saw an arms race happen in the AFC, and the contenders have stepped to the front of the table. As we are heading into the second half of the season, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Buffalo, those are the 4 teams that feel like they realistically have a shot at those things. All of those teams tried to update the offense. They all went out and they got wide receivers. They tried to improve that, and we saw a couple of teams pick up a pass rusher. Kansas City picked up a pass rusher. Pittsburgh picked up a pass rusher. Baltimore picked up a corner to try to shore up their secondary. Like, we saw a lot of movement from the top 4 teams in the AFC to try to position themselves for the winter months.
And I think as we saw over the course of this last offseason, the offseason before that, that is by and large set by the Chiefs being the proverbial pace car there, where you do have to reload and reevaluate what pieces you have. And look, I'm still lukewarm on what the Steelers could be, but like they should be in contender mindset mode right now. They've earned that through the first half of the season. But I think you have all these teams looking around, realizing that they could use one more weapon. They are going to need one more pass rusher to potentially get to Mahomes in those winter months. I think it's at this point like almost an overstated thing to the point that we underestimate how much it has absolutely warped the entire NFL. The Chiefs have been setting the standard here for so long that even when they're not playing their best football and even when the narratives about them start to fall into those spaces of, well, they're undefeated, but they're not that good, actually. by simply being undefeated, they are out there in front of everybody else by at least 2 games in that conference. And so everyone else has to look around and say, we could stand pat here, but maybe if we think the Chiefs are a tiny bit wobbly, if they don't get everything figured out, maybe we get a shot at them. Or alternatively, you turn on the TV on Monday night and you watch DeAndre Hopkins put up that performance, and you may think, well, we're going to need more firepower potentially on both sides of the football to ultimately get past the Chiefs in January, because no one's done it in 2 years.
Which of those 3 teams do you think improved the most at the deadline? Do you think it's Pittsburgh, Baltimore, or Buffalo?
I guess I think I believe in Buffalo the most overall still, but I don't know if any of those this is the opposite of your question. The Texans losing Diggs is obviously a huge deal, and so I feel like they fall off there. The Steelers fall off because I'm just not a huge believer in postseason Russell Wilson in 2024-25. So I'm giving the hat tip to Buffalo, but I don't necessarily feel like either of them have, I mean, even done what the Jets did, which was drastically improve their chances by adding Devontae Adams. It was just too late and their quarterback is wrong. So I don't think either of them necessarily closed any gaps, certainly if you take into account what the Chiefs did by adding Hopkins and then to a secondary level to Uche.
Right now we're talking to Joshua Brisco, who was banned from the show, but I was overruled, so he is back on the show, who covers the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's talk about Marshawn Lattimore. I think the Chiefs wanted Marshawn Lattimore, but usually what scares you off of purchasing anything is the price of what that thing costs. I think they called about Lattimore, and he was way more expensive than they thought he was going to be. They kind of waited around to see if anybody was going to offer more than they did, and Washington just came in with one of those offers that the Saints didn't have a choice. You had to take the Commanders' offer.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I also completely agree of what I think the Chiefs did there. It was interesting yesterday as Rappaport and Schefter were tweeting about the trade. Before it was completed, they were tweeting about the Chiefs being in past tense, saying the Chiefs have been linked, or they have been in it, which to me was pretty easy to see the signals there, which is that they're getting information from the Saints, trying to drum up better and better offers. So the Saints are saying, hey, tell them all the Commanders are the leader in the clubhouse, but those reigning back-to-back champions, they're poking around. So if somebody else in the AFC wants to come in and outbid the Chiefs. Meanwhile, I just don't think the Chiefs were ever in a conversation that extended past their own 3rd-round pick. Even that would have been a little bit rich for my blood, but I don't think giving up the L'Jarius Sneed pick for a corner who isn't L'Jarius Sneed after making that decision this offseason, I don't think that would have made any sense. Obviously, the change there is losing Jalen Watson potentially for the season, at least for the regular season. It seems like he may be holding out some hope for a later return, which would obviously be great. But Jalen Watson didn't enter this year as L'Jarius Sneed. Like, he was one of the guys they threw at the position. Obviously, no Najee Johnson on Monday Night Football also. The one thing, Carrington, for me that is sort of bizarre, that is a part of the football discourse that I think often is doing ourselves a disservice, but here I actually wish we would do it a tiny bit more. You have enough success, you earn the trust of your fan base, you get "In Veach We Trust" as this, this song that Chiefs fans can sing during any uncertain times. Off-season draft, well, Brett Veach will figure it out because he's great. Brett Veach is great, but he's not, untouchable. He's made mistakes, and everyone, I think, can, assess that. Everyone in football has. The thing about it in this case, though, that's so strange to me is that if there is any position on this team, from talent evaluation to coordinators to positional coaching, that deserves your trust, I think it's in the development of cornerbacks. We have seen Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt get the most out of these guys for years and years and years, and Veach seems to deliver them the types of players that they can mold into productive players down the stretch. It was a bad day for Chris Roland Wallace by and large. He hasn't even hit the 70 snap mark yet of his NFL career on defensive snaps. Najee Johnson had 1 week to prepare as a starter and left that game early with the concussion last week. I think there's still room for an undrafted rookie or for Najee Johnson, who didn't play football last year. I think there's room for them to take some strides, even though I certainly don't feel super confident in where Joshua Williams is at. He's also not a total bum. Like, he has played meaningful snaps on this defense in Super Bowl runs. That's not to say that he wasn't a weakness or couldn't be a weakness. He was on Monday night, and he can be going forward. But also, there's a lot of people really been out of shape about the Buccaneers offense running through a tight end and their running backs by and large, resulting in 200 total passing yards, as if the corner somehow got cooked. I think the last drive for the defense was the only one for me that had some of those red flags in the process of going, oh, well, Baker is kind of scanning for the matchups he's looking for. Before that, a lot of stuff was schemed open. It was a great day for Liam Cohen. But anyway, all of that to say, back to the Lattimore point, I was not panicking about them needing to add another corner, because I think that if there's any spot on this team where they've shown they can use what they have, it's been at that position.
Right now, we're talking to our guy, Joshua Brisco. All right, I have 3 kind of numbers-based questions for you. It goes in line with what you just said with corner. So on a scale from 1 to 10, so 10 being the highest, absolute confidence, where are you at right now with the cornerback room? Because of all of their positions, that appears to be the thinnest, and there's no Hollywood Brown coming back to kind of save the cornerback room. On a scale from 1 to 10, where are you at in confidence with the corners?
I think I'm at a flat 5, and all of that belongs to the number 2 corner, and then a little bit to what they do in the slot, I suppose. I think we see a little more Shamari Connor be able to alleviate the slot issues if Roland Wallace doesn't begin to stack some good plays in a row. I'm a little bit worried about it, but I wasn't willing to trade a day 2 pick there, so I'll be a flat 5 right down the middle.
All right, I'll ask you the same question about wide receiver. Where are you at on a scale from 1 to 10 when it comes to confidence in the wide receiver room?
With Hollywood being in the mix on this one, I think maybe like a 7 at this point. DeAndre Hopkins was outrageously impressive on Monday night, and outrageously impressive for being where he is 2 games into the Mahomes experience. I think that I'm not going to totally buy all the way to him tweeting that picture of Brady and Randy Moss in New England, but I'm buying a little bit of what that relationship's going to be in terms of a future Hall of Fame receiver, a future Hall of Fame quarterback, being able to figure it out for the last half of the season.
All right, so let's say that we have fast-forwarded to the postseason. Like, I've put you in a time machine, and it is the Chiefs' first postseason game. Kareem Hunt is healthy for this game. Isaiah Pacheco is healthy for this game, and they have 20 carries between the two of them. How are you divvying up the carries? How many carries are you giving Isaiah Pacheco? How many carries are you giving Kareem Hunt?
My instinct there, splitting 20 carries, is like 12 and 8 for Pacheco and Hunt, respectively, partially because I just think by that point, unless Kareem Hunt gets to get in the time machine with us, he's going to feel even worse physically than he does right now. And I think Pacheco theoretically comes back. Obviously, it's a broken ankle, so it's not like he has, air quotes, kind of fresh legs, but he will have a fresh body outside of that's been rehabbed from a full year of being punished at the NFL level. So I'd give a little bit of a lean towards Pacheco, but then I think you can kind of play the situations a little bit. 1st and 10, I'd rather give it to Isaiah Pacheco because if he misses the hole or doesn't quite see the right thing, you're throwing the ball on 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9. You can live with that. But if it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, even down at the goal line, I'd rather see Kareem Hunt in those circumstances. He has great vision still, and he seems to take what's there every time. So I think situationally, pretty close 50-50, but I'll give the edge to Pacheco, likely fresher at that point, hopefully fully healthy.
Yeah, we did these numbers before you hopped on. So Kareem Hunt has touched the ball. He has 97 carries in the last 4 weeks. So, I mean, that's a lot of usage. Derrick Henry has 73 carries during that same time frame. So just think about, like, we all think Derrick Henry, like the ultimate workhorse back. He has a full game more workload in the same amount of time frame than Derrick Henry. I looked it up. I mean, he is on pace over the course of the season to have 377 carries. Now, obviously, nobody thinks that he is going to have that. But at some point, his usage just has to go down. And as you get into those late months, it's going to be good to have somebody that can help shoulder the load. He has done a fantastic job given the opportunity. But this is not something that you think is going to be sustainable for the next 3 months.
Correct, absolutely. I didn't realize that his season-long stats would put him in Larry Johnson territory. That's crazy. And to that point, and maybe to that callback to the Larry Johnson era, no, it's not sustainable in the best of circumstances. Again, like Derrick Henry, the outlier for him is the fact that he's been able to have that kind of usage at a very high level throughout his entire career and had relatively infrequent injuries stopping him. Kareem Hunt right now is in the midst of for him, an incredible end chapter, or one of the final chapters of his NFL career, getting to do the prodigal son thing and come back and be really, really, really useful for keeping this offense afloat. That is absolutely legitimate. Nothing to take away from him since he's taken this job. But that cannot be the plan in January. And really, it shouldn't even be the plan as soon as you have a little bit more, maybe even a little more faith in Carson Steele, for that matter. I've been kind of wondering if they would begin to try to at least get Hunt back down to the 20-ish carry mark. But you saw it on Monday night. They eventually got to the point where the offense wasn't able to move as easily as they wanted to. They fed him in the second half, and the offense felt a lot more flexible, moving the ball up and down the field at times. And I don't think that's a fluke at this point. It keeps happening.
Last question here, and you might be the first person to get back-to-back suspensions off the show. You already have accrued one suspension here. Now we're waiting to the offseason when you can sit down with the commissioner and maybe you can get that thing appealed. This is a very important question. When does Christmas start?
For me, either the day or maybe 2 days after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
No, I mean, that's your answer. I just wanted to know because Rob thinks that it is now Christmas season. I don't know what has happened now, but Rob already has his Christmas tree up here, Josh. He already has Christmas lights up. He's already decked the halls with boughs of holly.
I love Christmas, and I really like Christmas decorations. What we do in our home is that our Halloween decorations are still up. They will probably still be up close to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving will then occupy that interstitial time in between Halloween and Christmas decorations, and then the Christmas decor goes up. So no, I think day after Thanksgiving in most circumstances is where I'm going to go. I'm not listening to a Christmas song until December 1st, just for what it's worth.
You know what, Brisco? You know what? I will consider rescinding your suspension. I'll consider it. I still don't like what you've given so far. You came on this show and you said the Kit Kats were the best chocolate. I even asked Patrick Mahomes this, and he very presidentially said, "No, that's crazy."
Did he have a favorite chocolate candy?
I asked. You don't listen to the show?
No, we talked about this. I can't remember. This was a week ago.
Oh my!
What was his top level?
You know what?
Was it also Snickers?
I gotta.
Did you suspend Patrick Mahomes?
No, I'm suspending you, Joshua Brisco, not Mahomes. Mahomes can't get suspended from this show. You can get suspended from this show. Rob, hang up on that man. Goodbye. He's out of here. He's out of here. He's done. He doesn't even listen to the show. How can you be a regular on this show? You don't listen to the show. We even shouted him out in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes, and that's how he plays us?
To be fair, we shouted him out just to embarrass him, if we're being honest. I mean,
yo, why are you trying to give context to this? What happened?
I'm just painting the whole picture. Is that not crazy to you? You trying to give context to what happened here. There's no reason to give any context to what happened. There's none. There's not a single reason to give context. We asked Patrick Mahomes that, and he said, no, that's wrong. That's crazy, because he knows that's crazy. He knows it. Did you guys, I actually know that you didn't see this. Rob, so there was a post that was put out by downtownkc.org. Now, this is not hyperbole. I was the only person on Twitter to retweet this. The headline is literally Downtown Kansas City baseball update from downtown Kansas City. The only retweet was me. I'm the only one that cares still about this. You know what? That's fine. I'll be the only one. I'm the only one that thinks a lot of things. That's perfectly fine. I'm the only one that hates baked beans. That's fine. I'm the only one that thinks March Madness is overrated and that it gets worse as the tournament goes on. That's fine. I'm the only one that doesn't get excited about watching Notre Dame and Wisconsin play a 48-42 game because they dive on the floor for loose balls. I'll be the only person. That's fine. I'm the only person that still cares about where the Royals are going to play their baseball games. It's fine. Did you know this, Rob? In this little story that they put, it said the Royals majority owner, John Sherman, has indicated that he wants the team to be playing in a new ballpark when their lease expires at the Truman Sporting Complex after the 2030 season. The Downtown Council has long welcomed and promoted the idea of a downtown baseball stadium. And they have an imagination and a strategy plan for Imagine Downtown KC 2030. They then talked about how they've been fixing the bridges and doing all the stuff, the Buck O'Neill Bridge and doing all this stuff because they're trying to make it viable for the stadium. They then also said that many locations have been proposed and are viable for a downtown location. And guess what location kept popping up in this story? Washington Square Park. Keeps popping up. Now, I don't know when they're going to make this announcement. I'm guessing sometime over the course of the next 90 days. I think they are going to have a pretty detailed plan about Washington Square Park. It just keeps popping up. I don't think the Royals have any interest in moving to Kansas. We have no indication that they want to move to Kansas. I don't even know if Kansas really wants them. Kansas really wants the Chiefs, and I guess they'll take the Royals.
The Royals really want to be in downtown Kansas City. And I don't think that idea was floated out for them to be a little bit closer to Union Station and close to Crown Center. I don't think that was random. I also don't think on Election Day that downtown Kansas City just sends this story out about how they've been basically working to try to make this a viable location. So I understand in the midst of everything that was happening, it was a very big election. I get it. I understand how the downtown stadium was not front of mind for you. But now that we have finished with the election, the next big local thing that we need to figure out is what's happening with the teams. We still do not know, have no clue of what's going to happen. No clue where the Royals are going to go. No clue where the Chiefs are going to go. And also who and how we are paying for their new stadium. So we're going to have the mayor of Kansas City coming up. He is also quoted in this story. I want to ask him about this. Hey, how viable is this space? What's going on? I think it's important for us to know. All right, coming up on the other side, Rob, let's talk a little bit of college football. My team didn't lose this weekend. Rob, did your team lose this weekend?
Nope.
Some of you guys, your team lost this weekend, and you guys told me it was crazy. We had John Kurtz on the show, and he made us feel bad for even talking to him about the game. We'll talk about K-State next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. All right, let's get ready for Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. I'm also going to take an anytime touchdown with Derrick Henry because he scores a touchdown in every single game. I'm also going to take Joe Burrow to throw at least 2 touchdown passes. He's been on a roll of late. You can use this same game parlay, maybe make your own, or use one of the pre-built ones right there on the app. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus pass, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
At Shane Company, we want you to be the holiday hero. We have so many ways to create unique, fine jewelry gifts. Give a ring or necklace with their favorite gemstone like amethyst or peachy morganite, one to match their eyes, or even pick out their favorite team colors. Customize our North Star charm with the gemstone of your choice for a reminder to follow their own path. or create a personalized piece with zodiac, birthstone, and diamond letter charms. Visit us in store and shop online at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Are you playing roofer roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Shop Dell Technologies' early holiday savings event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Early holiday savings is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you.
Join 96.5 The Fan at Community America Credit Union's Red Friday tailgate this Friday from 11 till 1 at their branch off 64th Street in KC Mo. Take photos with Chiefs cheerleaders and KC Wolves, score Chiefs gear, and win tickets to an upcoming Chiefs game. All at Community America's 64th Street branch in KC Mo.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic brought to you by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Got a stalled car, stopping traffic on the east side, westbound 70, the on-ramp from 40 Highway. Another stalled out car, eastbound 435. That is at the on-ramp from Rowe Avenue. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Time to check in on MIZ, K-State, and KU. Let's go cover 3.
Ready, break! K-State. Right when I jump on the bandwagon? Rob, we had 2 K-State guests last week. We didn't hear anything. Rob, did you get a single tweet like, oh, hey, we appreciate the coverage. We appreciate you guys talking about us. Did you get any of that? This show was ready to jump on the K-State bandwagon. We had their coach on the show. We had guests on the show. I had put down the black and gold, and I picked up the purple. Y'all lost to Houston? It's one thing to lose to Texas Tech. It's one thing to lose to Colorado. Maybe even a Baylor. Houston? You're telling me that there's a chance that K-State doesn't go to the national championship. They can't compete for the college football playoff because they lost to Houston? I don't believe it. You're making it up. That's not what happened. K-State, the rest of us are very disappointed in you. We believed in you. We really did. This show believed in you. And I know you guys like to get a little sassy sometimes. It's been real quiet over there. Real quiet. I haven't heard a whole lot of, hey, why aren't you guys talking about us this week from K-State? Where y'all at? Go Power Cat, bring on the Cats. It's been quiet. How did you lose to Houston? They're terrible. That's who derailed you guys' season. I don't have anything else. I don't need to. I'm not breaking down the game. I'm not doing any of that. I even bet on you guys. I was really all in. And that's how it ended for you guys? That's how your season ended? Now you're going to the Independence Bowl? Now you're going to the Liberty Bowl because of Houston?
This is a weird moment for me.
Unacceptable.
I'm about to stand up for K-State.
Unacceptable.
We sure their season's over? They get one team upset or win one game in Ames, they are right back in Arlington because they hold the tiebreak over Colorado. They go beat Iowa State in Ames, they could easily be back in Arlington, and you know how it works. If you win in Arlington,
you
get a top 4 seed. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to win out. I think they're going to lose in Ames.
Okay, so what are we talking about then? If you think they're going to lose, then it's over.
You said their season is over.
Okay, we think they're losing, though.
There is a path. It's just tumultuous.
Yeah, the path is they have to win all of their games. Mm-hmm. That was the same path that they had before the Houston game. They lost. That was the same path. The path hasn't changed. Win all your games, and you lost. So sure, K-State will win 9-10 games this year. They're a great program. They'll go to a real solid bowl. You think they're winning the Big 12? You think K-State's winning the Big 12?
I think it's BYU's to lose.
Because I'm just saying I've seen them go on the road. They got smoked on the road at BYU, and they went on the road and they lost to Houston. Now I got to pick them to go on the road and beat Iowa State?
By the way, I saw that Houston team live. They're really bad.
Terrible.
They're terrible. Me and dozens of people at Arrowhead saw that Houston team in live living color, and it's bad.
Someone on the text line says, so what you're saying is it's your fault. Absolutely. You guys would have won if I hadn't said anything. If we hadn't talked about you guys last week, you guys would only have one loss. But it's our fault. I jumped on the bandwagon. We supported you guys. We stood alongside you guys, arm in arms. We tried to unify things. We're too divided. Missouri, Kansas, K-State. No, we tried to unify, rally behind you guys, and you let us down. You let the whole team down is what you did. You stepped to the line. You missed both free throws. Now look at us. No. Are you guys going to beat North Carolina this weekend? Because we're not talking about the football team anymore. The football team, they're done.
They can play spoiler. They have 2 teams on the schedule they can play spoiler to, and those are going to be full crowds. Nothing to do with them, but full crowds.
Rob, I'm telling you right now that this show is done talking about Kansas football.
What if they beat Iowa State?
They're 2-6.
What if they beat Iowa State?
Then we'll talk about them.
That's the rule.
All right, we're done talking about
That's
them.
fine. North Carolina.
I'd rather talk about Christmas music right now than talk about KU football. They got 4 games left. You're right. They got 3 teams they could play spoilers to. Which one of these games do you think is the most realistic game for them to win? They got Iowa State in a road. They got Iowa State in a road game. They got BYU on the road, and they got Colorado at a neutral site.
That's another road game, probably.
Yeah, they got Colorado at a neutral site. They definitely don't have a home game this weekend against Iowa State. They don't have a home game.
They got a roadie. But if you're asking me to rank them, if this weekend's the weekend, that's the most likely to pull the upset because they're coming off a bye. Okay. They probably won't, but that's the most likely. North Carolina. Let's talk about North Carolina. I think Kansas beats North Carolina.
Of course, they're at home.
Kansas looked really good against Howard. How did your team do in their first game?
They lost. That's all they do.
Did they lead?
Have you heard that song, All I Do Is Win? Missouri's the opposite of that. They're the opposite of that. All they do is lose no matter what. First half lead. It ain't never enough. When they step into the building, all the shots go up and they don't go in. That's what happens with Missouri. I watched the whole thing, every dribble. I had the Monday Night Football on the big TV. I had Missouri-Memphis on one of the other TVs. I was so excited in the first half. I took Missouri on the money line. For those of you that gamble, you know, you start spinning that money in your head. You're like, oh, man, I'm coming up here, man. I put 25 on this. It was like plus 160. I was feeling great. Then little by little, you start seeing the money just light itself on fire. And I'm sitting there, I believed in this team. I thought they could win. Now, on a very serious note, I do think Missouri is better. I watched a lot of Missouri basketball last year. I watched every dribble so far this season. They are better. They have more size. They can rebound. Their biggest problem right now is coaching. Their coach does not know rotations. I'm sorry, you don't have to be Red Auerbach. You don't have to be Phil Jackson. You can't play 11 and 12 basketball players in a game. You can't do it. How Trent Pierce was their leading scorer in the first half, and then he doesn't check into the game until the 11-minute mark in the second half, it doesn't make any sense. His rotations are just so completely random that Missouri they'd have been better off last year and this year if they had just settled in on 8 guys. Settled in on 9 guys. That's how it works. If you're telling me that Team USA can't play 12 players, tell me how Missouri can play 12 players. Somebody make that make sense. We literally saw a basketball team that Jason Tatum couldn't be part of their rotation and Tyrese Halliburton, but Missouri's trying to play everybody on their team. Makes no sense.
This question is going to come off like hateration. That's fine. It's the nature of the beast. Which coach has had the shine come off them faster in Columbia? Is it Drinkwitz or Gates?
Oh, it's Gates. Not even close. I mean,
because
you know I'm not the biggest Drinkwitz guy.
Maybe it's the text line, but there's been some Drinkwitz hate this year because expectations have fallen short.
I mean, a disappointing Missouri season is they're going to win 8 games. Missouri has not won a basketball game in 2024. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, well, they just played 1 game. No, I mean in 2024, the whole year. They didn't win a basketball game in January. They didn't win a basketball game in February. They certainly didn't win any in March, and they lost their first. They have lost 20 consecutive games. So, I'm not the biggest Drinkwitz fan in the world. Let's not put them two in the same conversation. At this point, Dennis Gates is DEI Kim Anderson is what he looks like to me. That's who he looks like to me. That's what he looks like to me. I'm got to tell you how I feel. That's who he looks like. DEI Kim Anderson is who he looks like to me. He's been out here fooling for quite some time. And Missouri's probably going to lose this week to Oklahoma in football. They're probably going to lose.
No, Oklahoma is so bad.
Who's their quarterback?
Who's Oklahoma's quarterback?
I know he's better than that Pine Kid Missouri's got playing.
Off a bye, Cook ain't healthy?
I don't know if he's healthy. The way that the line looks, it doesn't look like Vegas thinks that he's healthy. I'm telling you, if they got to play that Drew Pine kid, he is Nathan Peterman. He is the worst D1 quarterback I've ever seen. I'm serious. I'm sorry. He's the worst. He probably makes more than me to do this job. I'm telling you, he's terrible. He's bad. So if they got him going, I'm not even watching it. It's not even getting the secondary TV. No, that gets the phone. That's what it gets. It gets meth streams on the phone is how I'm watching Missouri, Oklahoma, if they got that kid starting. Coming up at the top of the hour, Spectre thinks that Mahomes should be number 1 in the MVP conversation. We'll play for you his explanation. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Got a stalled car, stopping traffic on the east side, westbound 70, the on-ramp from 40 Highway. Another stalled out car, eastbound 435. That is at the on-ramp from Rowe Avenue. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan.
All right, when it comes to
Traffic.
getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Pizza Taccio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Taccio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzataccio.com, or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City. One slice at a time.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam. With free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's enhanced network. Learn more at USPS.com/holidayride.
You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. Why is it important to deal with a roofing company that understands the insurance side of the business?
First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of the damage covered at your property. We have a very experienced team that's licensed and insured. We do roofs, windows, siding, and gutters, along with some interior trades, and we can make sure that all of the damage is taken care of.
I've used Manning Roofing at my house, so set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Touchdown, Renner! Almost Andy Reid here. You know, a few years ago, my wife surprised me with tickets to a Halloween ball. And guess what? That night I discovered a new passion. Now I've added to that passion, cheering on the greatest team with the greatest garage door company of all time. Renner offers top-notch repair services, new doors, and LiftMaster openers. It's the perfect three-peat forward and back, RENNER with Renner. You'll stay on the championship track. Visit rennerdoor.com.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheep Metalworkers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymocanschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
All right, we have started a new segment, and the segment is called Spectre Says. It's very, very simple. We just record something, the Spectre says. We always have these conversations, and one day I just had the idea of, why don't you just go record it? Like, instead of me telling the people what you said, let's just play for them what you said. What should we call it? I was like, Spectre Says. So let me play for you guys this week's edition of Spectre Says.
If you shopped before the season like I did, I got Mahomes at 5-1. Now he's in that 4-1 range. Vegas is unflinching that he is in the MVP conversation regardless of his statistical production through 8 games. He's still in third place behind Lamar and behind Josh Allen. And again, speaking of those two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes beat Lamar Jackson head-to-head this year and gets the opportunity to go play Josh Allen in primetime next week. If you look at the last 16 quarterbacks who've won MVP, they roughly average 14 wins a season over a 17-game schedule. And they're the 1 seed 81% of the time. Mahomes is going to check both those boxes. Well, what about his statistics? Jared Goff's been great, but his passing statistics aren't, gaudy. Lamar's been great. Josh Allen's been great. Both have better stats, no question. But if you talk about a narrative award like the MVP is, no Isaiah Pacheco, no Hollywood Brown, no Rashee Rice, and he'll have Hopkins for half the season, but Mahomes is doing this with a less cast of characters than both of those other quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, for the final 9 games of the season, gets to play the Bills in primetime, stand alone on Black Friday, Sunday Night Football, stand alone against the Texans on Saturday, and stand alone on Christmas. So 5 of the next 9 games of the final Chiefs calendar, Mahomes is playing by himself. And then 3 of the other games, Carolina, Cleveland, Las Vegas, dead in the water where he can wrap up good statistical numbers. Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the MVP conversation.
All right, this is a really interesting conversation. 913-586-7965. If the argument for Mahomes is he's the quarterback on the best team, sure. If you are arguing the head-to-head matchups, because all of the other contending teams, Kansas City plays those teams. They've already played Baltimore. They play Houston later this year. They play Buffalo later this year, and they also play Pittsburgh. So all of the teams that you think have a legitimate argument in the AFC to really do something and make a run, the Chiefs have them on their schedule. So that part of the argument actually makes a lot of sense to me and holds a whole lot of water if we are having that part of the conversation. It all makes sense to me. This would be the thing, though, at least that's a disconnect for me. Do the numbers not matter? Now, I understand how if you're a Chiefs fan, you don't care about how many touchdowns he throws, how many yards he throws for, simply what's the Chiefs' record, and we don't care about regular season production. We only care about how he looks in the postseason. All of that's fair. I mean, Lamar Jackson has 20 touchdown passes, and Patrick Mahomes has 11. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 9 interceptions. Lamar Jackson has thrown 2 interceptions this year. Lamar Jackson has thrown for more passing yards this season than Patrick Mahomes. He also obviously has more rushing yards than he has. So just, there's not really a number argument to make this year for Mahomes. And the 2 times that he has won it, it has just been very clear. You are the best quarterback in the league, and the numbers also support it. He threw 5,000 yards and 50 touchdown passes. The second time that he won it, he threw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdown passes. So the numbers were there, and it also lined up with what we believe. I just think that this year is going to be one of the Cam Newton, Matt Ryan kind of years. No one is saying that they don't think Mahomes is the best quarterback anymore. At least I don't feel that way. Maybe somebody in the national media does. That's not an opinion that I have. But it just feels like a year that maybe Lamar doesn't get it because he's already won his 2 and you're just kind of tired of giving him the award. But I think we have learned, especially following it with the quarterback over the course of the last half decade or so, it's also a narrative conversation too. And the narrative just sort of has to pick up around Patrick Mahomes. Now, maybe that happens if they go out and they beat Buffalo. Maybe that happens, and they do have big nationally televised games in which everybody's going to be watching and everybody's going to pay attention. And are you going to be able to keep the MVP award away from a quarterback if his team goes 15-2, 16-1, or potentially wins every single regular season game, going to be kind of hard to keep the MVP award away from that quarterback. Right now, Patrick Mahomes would not have my vote, but there's a lot of other time to do it. I think that Josh Allen has been the most valuable player in the National Football League. I also just kind of think that it's time for him to win the award. He's been in that conversation for the last couple of years. You've given it to Mahomes. You've given it to Lamar Jackson. The next logical quarterback to give it to for having a good year and his team winning the division and them winning 13, 14 games, it feels like it's Josh Allen. So that would be my argument at the halfway point on why I would give it to Josh Allen. But, Rob, you pick a different quarterback.
I'm going to stay with Jared Goff because I believe what Speck said is correct. It is a narrative-driven award.
And sorry, really quickly here, and this goes along with what you're saying, though, is, I mean, the MVP probably has been Derrick Henry. They're just not going to give it to a non-quarterback. I mean, Derrick Henry, it looks like he is going to run for 2,000 yards and account for 20 touchdowns. That used to just give you the award. Nope. Hey, you've been the best. But now we have made it that we have to only give it to quarterbacks. So there's only probably 5 left that are even eligible to win this award, eligible to be in this conversation.
Derrick Henry's going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the same. It's very similar. I mean, I don't know the exact dates are lining up, but remember last year you were a proponent of Christian McCaffrey, and I said he just can't win it. It's not going to happen. It's kind of eerily similar.
Let me ask you this question though. It just is another player. What about Saquon Barkley?
I think he falls in the same category. He's not as impressive as Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry can't win it.
I don't know. What I just saw him do this past weekend and how that team has drastically changed, if the Eagles win that division,
which they aren't leading right now,
and the Eagles end up being a 13-4 team, the biggest difference between this year and last year is Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm with you. Saquon's not going to win the award, but this conversation, why I think we're trying to pigeonhole Patrick Mahomes into the conversation, even though the numbers aren't there, is because we are forced to only give it to a quarterback. So if that's the case, there's not that many possible options of who it can be. There's only Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. There's only a short amount of people where if we kind of opened it up a little bit, then maybe we would get closer to, hey, this guy really had the most outstanding year in the National Football League. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes has come anywhere close to having the most outstanding year in the league. He's just a quarterback of the best team.
And that's why I think he's not going to win it. I actually understand Speck's logic. It's one of those things we talk about, process over results. Speck's logic is fair for why he remains in the conversation, but I think he's on the outside looking in of a person who can actually win as of November 6th. Jared Goff has a better narrative than him right now because he's the quarterback of the Lions, and the Lions may be the best offense in football. Like that, and his, return as the prodigal son, the whole thing, he wins the narrative thing. Josh Allen's stats are probably going to be better than Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen, a big part of Speck's argument is Josh Allen could lose to Patrick Mahomes. Well, if Josh Allen beats Patrick Mahomes, then that really changes things too. I don't disagree with him being in the conversation. I just don't foresee him being a real candidate in the conversation. If MVP was the Heisman, I don't know Mahomes makes New York, for an analogy.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know.
Because I think he would be in fourth.
Would he make it?
I think he'd be in fourth.
That's a great question. I've never thought about it like that. Like, would he be going to New York if this was the Heisman Trophy? Probably. I actually think he probably would make it. I think he probably makes it.
As of November 6th, I don't think he is. I think he can make New York, but I don't think he is as of now. Maybe that's the better way to say it.
No, that makes perfect sense. Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, how many of Mahomes' interceptions are tip balls? 3 or 4 maybe? I completely understand that argument. I think it is a very fair argument, but I do think we have to acknowledge we never, ever gave that kind of grace to Josh Allen when he was throwing interceptions left and right. I mean, I'm guessing that some Josh Allen interceptions have been the same. Over the course of the last 2 seasons, Patrick Mahomes has 24 turnovers. How many turnovers do you think Josh Allen has during that time? Josh Allen during that time has 20 interceptions during that same time. And if you look at his fumble numbers, he has 6 fumbles. So their turnover numbers are about the same. So all I'm saying is I'm not saying that balls don't ever get tipped. That happens for every quarterback in the league. He has a little bit of a turnover problem in the regular season. Now, in the postseason, I don't know what happens. He just decides, I'm not throwing any more interceptions, and then that's just kind of that. Like, he, wills himself to not throw interceptions anymore. The quarterback that played against Tampa Bay this weekend, that's the guy that can win MVP. is that the quarterback they're going to have for the rest of the season? Because that is not the quarterback they have had for the first half of the season or so. Their quarterback, and sometimes has put them in really bad spots, and the rest of the roster has kind of bailed them out of it. Whether it's been Kareem Hunt at times, whether it's been the defense at times. Like, Patrick has not been carrying the Chiefs to wins. I think he helped carry them on Monday night. He was incredible on third downs and made those plays. And usually he makes those plays late in the game that are the difference-making plays. Mahomes would not have my vote for MVP as we currently sit. I also just don't think it matters. Regular season MVP, like, Mahomes is at the point where this season it is focused on one thing. Do they win the Super Bowl? Not even if they go to the Super Bowl this year. Do they win the Super Bowl? And I think that there were years that you guys were caught up in the noise of, oh, what about Drew Brees? What about this? What about that? What about this season? Everybody, fans, team, commentators, media, there's only one thing that really matters. So give it to somebody else this year. This is the year to give it to somebody else, and Chiefs Kingdom's not going to be mad about it. Give it to Josh Allen. Give it to Jared Goff. There's only one trophy that Chiefs fans really care about this season. Keep it right here, so drive.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer Duster. Love it or your money back.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmitt Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards, Real Fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
The nightmare stories are all too common with home services companies. Shoddy workmanship, subpar materials, or everyone's favorite, getting halfway done with the job and taking a 2-month break. So, if you need to replace your windows, siding, or doors, you could spend hours online researching companies. Or you can start with the perfect company and call Thermo King. With over 25 years selling and installing energy-efficient windows, James Hardie siding, and the most beautiful entry doors available, Thermo King will make your home project hassle-free and easy. Their triple glass replacement windows will save you money on your energy bills. Their James Hardie siding will last decades, and their entry doors will make your guests say, "Holy cow!" Right now, you can save thousands on replacement windows, siding, or a new entryway door. Great financing plans are available to make paying for your project easy. Get the process started today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement. But when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Coverage brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Got a stalled car, stopping traffic on the east side, westbound 70, the on-ramp from 40 Highway. Another stalled out car, eastbound 435. That is at the on-ramp from Rowe Avenue. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price, open 24/7. Fast and free shuttle services, all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right. I have 2 questions to ask you. Let's start with the first one. 913-586-7965. All right, Rob. On a scale from 1 to 10, so 1 being you have absolutely no confidence, 10, the utmost confidence, where are you at currently with their wide receiver room? Because this is it. I know the people have been holding out. Well, what about Justin Ross? What about Nico Remigio? No, stop it. I don't want to talk about those individuals anymore. They're not getting Darius Slayton. They're not getting Demarcus Robinson. This is the group. This is the unit. They're going to have to develop. They're going to have to wait for some guys to get back healthy. But this is the team. Where do you currently sit with their wide receiver? As the dust is settled, there's no more trade deadline. You're not getting somebody off waiver claims that you think makes a difference in the wide receiver room. Let's start with the offense, and then we'll go to the defense here. We are 8 weeks, 9 weeks into the NFL season. Where are you at with the Chiefs wide receivers on a scale from 1 to 10?
6. A 6. 5.5, 6, but it's 1 to 10. I'll say a 6. It is dramatically improved looking with DeAndre Hopkins. And if they get the version of DeAndre Hopkins they had on Monday night, I feel a lot more calm, a lot more relaxed. I might even bump up to a 7. There is still a depth issue in that room. Justin Watson is looking better. Xavier Worthy is looking worse. And Juju is consistently on the injury report like he was in New England. So my confidence went up because DeAndre Hopkins looks like 2014 DeAndre Hopkins, which is fountain of youth. I can't believe they found it. But I want to see it sustained before I get more confident. So I'm a 6 in the wide receiver room right now.
I'm probably about the same as you at around a 6, but for a little bit of a different reason. I am holding out to the hope that Xavier Worthy is going to develop in the next 6 weeks. We've seen them do it now 2 separate times. In the second half of year 1, we saw a much different Tyreek Hill than the first half with year 1. And we also saw that same thing happen last year with Rashee Rice. Like, there is sort of a point in last season. before the Eagles game for Rashee Rice and after the Eagles game. And they really started to lean into him more, and he started to develop as a number one wide receiver. Now, just because you did it with a couple of guys doesn't mean you're going to do it with every player that you have, but just think about what you saw on Monday night. I mean, Xavier Worthy was a negative. Like, that's not hyperbole. They threw it to him 2 times. He had 0 yards receiving. They gave him 2 carries. He had minus 10 yards. You know how hard it is to leave the game if you are a first-round pick and you have negative 10 yards? I just don't think that you're going to get that every single week. So I am hopeful and optimistic, and why I'm giving it a 6 is as you get back Hollywood Brown, and I think he's going to play in the second half of the season, and I think you also give more reps and opportunities to Xavier Worthy, I think you will sort of find what his role is on this team. And I would say of all the players on their offense, they do not know what his role is yet. You know what Kareem Hunt's role is on this team. You know what Samaje Perine's role is. You know Travis Kelce. DeAndre Hopkins has been here 11 days. You know what D-Hop's role is on this team. We can all say what we think Xavier Worthy's role is on the team, but is that what he's been? He hasn't been jet sweep guy since the first game of the season. He has 16 yards rushing in their last 7 games. So he has not been jet sweep guy for this team. He hasn't really been big play down the field, take the top over the defense guy. He has 90 yards receiving in his last 4 games. So he hasn't really been either one of those things. I'm hopeful that they figure out what his role is and they sort of get a hold on it in the second half of the season. And if you go into it with that, if you were going into the postseason with Isaiah Pacheco healthy, Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine, Travis Kelce, D-Hop, possibly Hollywood Brown, and a defined role for Xavier Worthy, and then everybody else fills in, sometimes you'll get a contribution from Justin Watson. Sometimes it'll be a Noah Gray game. Sometimes you'll give it to McCole Hardman, and he'll get a couple of opportunities. If you can start to kind of figure out what his role is, I think this offense really comes together, so that's why I'm giving it a 6.
That is, per usual on this show, that's the glass half full. The Tyreek Hill developed, Rashee Rice developed. They found defined roles for those guys in the second half of their first years. Didn't they fail to do that with McCole Hardman and fail to do that with Sky Moore? Now, maybe Sky Moore just stinks, and it was impossible to develop him, which is probably more true than not. But McCole Hardman's usage and stats from the second half of his rookie year were worse than the first half. And his development kind of stagnated. He kind of became he is what he is guy. And there is a value in what McCole Hardman is. But you're saying they need to define a role for him, which means they need to kind of make it work again like they did Rashee Rice. Isn't the inverse, the flip side of that coin, that maybe it looks like McCole Hardman? And does that change your confidence in the room if he ends up being he is what he is guy, not finds the next gear guy?
Yeah, but I guess, though, and this is where I think I don't know if unfair is to McCole Hardman because you're a second-round pick, so there's going to be expectations. If you're telling me that they can get Xavier Worthy to where McCole Hardman was early in his career, I think you'll take that. I mean, McCole Hardman, for his first 3 years in Kansas City, he had 538 yards, 560, and 693. I don't think that anyone has ever argued that McCole Hardman is not productive. I just don't think that the ceiling was there. Like, there was no next level with him. Like, they spent a second-round pick on a role guy, and I don't think that's what people envision what you're supposed to get with your second-round pick, certainly not with your first-round pick. But if you were telling me that they can get 538 yards or a little bit more from Xavier Worthy this season, I'll take it.
I guess my point from McCole Hardman.
And really quickly, McCole Hardman with Hardman was averaging 20 yards a catch his first year. Now, obviously, very, very different offense, but McCole Hardman's first year, he was exactly what they wanted him to be, a big play, home run hitter down the field. Xavier Worthy hasn't consistently been that for this team. Can they get him to being that player? Can they figure out, hey, once or twice a game, we're going to figure out a way to connect? And it seems to me, just from watching these games, it feels like to me he is maybe the further off with him. And you remember this was a complaint early on with McCole Hardman too. And McCole kind of wore a big, hey, you're playing Call of Duty, you're doing all these other things, you don't really have your head in the playbook. He's having a lot of those same issues right now with Xavier Worthy too, where they just don't appear to be on the same page. He's on the same page, it feels like, with all of their other pass catchers. It does not look or feel like he is on the same page with Xavier Worthy.
I understand you're saying about McCole Hardman. I do think he's unfairly judged. My point was, he did not develop at all in the back half of his rookie season. I pulled the numbers while you were talking. And his final 9 regular season games as a rookie. So this is a 16-game schedule, so they've played at that point 7 games. Here are the final 9 games of McCole Hardman. He had 11 targets, 8 catches, 219 yards. That is not a staggering improvement. It's probably about the same as his first half of the season, but on a 17-game average, that's basically, 1 to 2 targets a game, a catch, and it's 25 yards. So if he's McCole Hardman, the back half of McCole Hardman's rookie year, you're basically getting a catch for 25 yards from Worthy. And the Chiefs' offense then is super reliant on DeAndre Hopkins, who, again, looked great on Monday night. But if it's going to be the development plan McCole Hardman was on, I don't know that's enough from Xavier Worthy. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe he's on the development plan of Rashee Rice. And his back half, if we pulled the numbers, were staggeringly good. I think it will come down to how they develop him. Those are the two extremes. It's Rice and Hardman. Even if he falls in the middle, they'll be okay. But it needs to be more Rice-looking than Hardman-looking.
And I see this, too. Someone says, C-Dot, if you pay attention to Xavier Worthy on the replays, he's opening up deep. Pat just doesn't look his way too often. I don't know if Xavier Worthy has really given us a reason to think that Pat should be looking his way more often. I just don't think he has good football awareness now at this point. And, I mean, these are kind of the same arguments we made last year with guys. And when guys get away from Pat's system, I mean, MVS had a chance to get away from Pat and get a quarterback that can get him the ball in these certain spots, and he was out of the league in 6 weeks. So I hear this, and that's why I will just continue to be on Pat's side of this, and just it is much more of the infrastructure and parts around him than sort of him and how he's reading things. I think that's where it is with Worthy. So I'm at a 6. I'll ask you the same question right now about the cornerback room. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely no confidence, 10 being the most confident that you can be, where are you currently sitting at the cornerback room? I'm a little bit different than I am at wide receiver, because at wide receiver, I think there's some reason to have hope, right? They have a first-round pick that has not played well over the course of the last month. And they also have a wide receiver that you picked up in free agency that you think is going to play at some point between now and Christmas. That's not really where we are at corner. My confidence in corner is much more in Spags and the scheme, and I think they will be able to smoke and mirrors this thing. But this is the weakest cornerback room that they've had since Spags has been here. You have Trent McDuffie, and you got question marks everywhere else at corner. Now, you got some good safeties. You got some other good things. You got some of those things. But at least in terms of that cornerback room, they don't have a lot right now.
I am far more confident in corner than you are. I'm like probably a 7.
Okay.
I could bump.
So you're more confident at corner than
way
you are
more
wide
confident
receiver.
in corner.
Okay.
This is what they do. It has not been a problem midseason. The midseason part is new. But, man, I've been here for 4 years now, and I can name countless no-name corners that we were like, is that enough? I mean, they're going to try to play Rashad Fenton. It worked. Hey, I got some concerns. They're bringing back Rashad Breeland. He might be washed. It worked. Hey, who is this Charvarius Ward guy? They traded a backup guard to get him. Is that really the answer? It worked.
I will say this, though. I don't think Joshua Williams is Charvarius Ward. I don't think this Roland Williams kid that they got that just popped up out of nowhere. I don't think he's Charvarius Ward.
I think Najee Johnson can be more in that vein. And
I agree with that.
Najee Johnson's return, when Najee Johnson returns, that's where my confidence comes. Because, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. But usually in the NFL, concussions don't keep you out 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. It's usually 2 to 4, depending on severity, lots of things. He's got a concussion. He should be back sooner rather than later. I believe he even worked today with the team. So Najee Johnson coming back means Wallace bumps out of the rotation, and it's not dynamic, Williams, McDuffie, Johnson, but it's far better looking, and I trust Spags to make a Chamari Connor, who's a hybrid kind of work, to make Jaden Hicks, who's kind of a hybrid kind of guy, work. They've had Justin Reed as kind of a do more coverage this year. He should have gotten a pick on Monday night. It's Spags and Veach we trust with defense. I'm far more confident in corner than I am wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm probably on the other side. I'm probably more confident in wide receiver than I am with corner, but that's just kind of my nature, at least when it comes to their cornerback room. I think their quarterback room is thinner than their wide receiver room, and they got real either reinforcements coming in that wide receiver room or kind of proven production and talent. I mean, basically, your plan at corner is Najee Johnson gets healthy. I'm not sure if Joshua Williams is at the same level of Najee Johnson. Neither is the other kid. So I have more questions about corner. I'd probably put my wide receiver confidence at 6, maybe 6.5. I'd put my cornerback confidence maybe 4.5, 5. I'm probably a little bit more negative on the cornerback room than most people would be. I just don't think there's a whole lot there. I'm super confident in their pass rush. I'm super confident in Spags' ability to kind of hide some of their issues on the back end. But, I mean, we just saw at the end of it, I just saw Baker Mayfield go down the field against that defense with no weapons. I mean, they didn't have anybody out there. They don't even have a wide receiver that you know right now in Tampa Bay. That wouldn't have happened 3 weeks ago. That wouldn't have happened when Jalen Watson was healthy. That would not have happened when Najee Johnson was healthy. Like, I know they won the game and we kind of forget about it, but their defense did not win them this game. And their defense usually wins them those. When was the last time we saw a team go down the field like that against Kansas City's defense? It's been a while. Normally, when it's money time, when it's time to go win the game, their defense usually gets off the field. It wasn't even a challenge for Baker Mayfield, and he had no pieces to do it. That was not them running the football. That was not them being balanced. That was Baker Mayfield, Trey Murphy, Cade Otton, and a bunch of guys you hadn't heard of, and they went down the field in 2 minutes and scored a touchdown on this team. They're going to play way better pass catchers and offenses than the one they just went up against. Is their defense the same that it was pre all the injuries?
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like I saw a beaten and battered cornerback room play well against Brock Purdy and the Niners, a team that we view as still one of the top echelon teams in the NFC. I saw them play well against the Raiders. Now, the Raiders stink, so it doesn't really matter, but they did do a good job against Gardner Minshew. They had him in a blender all day up until that last let's just play prevent defense, who cares drive to end the game, which only upset people who bet on the Chiefs and never affected the actual outcome of the game. I think you are cherry-picking Baker Mayfield a little bit because Baker was good against this corner room, but a guy who people thought could be an MVP last year didn't. A guy who has been around the NFL and was almost a quarterback of a playoff team last year in Indianapolis wasn't. Like, Baker was good, but Baker's also one of the better quarterbacks in the league, probably upper echelon. So I hear what you're saying, but I am more open to them figuring it out and tightening it up than I am receiver because I have worried about Xavier Worthy's development probably more than you do.
Coming up in about 30 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by the mayor of Kansas City. We'll talk to him about Amendment 2 and what that means for you as a sports fan. We'll also talk about there was an update on the downtown Kansas City website about the future of the Kansas City Royals. We'll get his thoughts on that as well. But before we do that, Rob, let's talk a little bit of college football. Yesterday, we saw the list for the 12-team playoff come out. So whatever rankings that you were keeping an eye on before, those rankings do not matter. All I care about is that bracket, who was in the postseason, who was not in the postseason. And if you got a cute little number by your name, that's great. Are you in the college football playoff? It's time to play.
With the knowledge you've been given, you are now on the inside of what I like to call the Burns family circle of trust. See, if I can't trust you, Greg, then I have no choice but to put you right back outside the circle. And once you're out, you're out. There's no coming back.
Well, I would definitely like to stay inside the circle.
All right, Rob, let's play a little college football circle of trust.
All right, Carrington, let's start in the text line's favorite conference, the SEC, which every time we talk college football, it pops up with you should just put 12 SEC teams in, but I digress.
Not a bad plan.
Not a great plan either.
No, it's not a great plan either.
The SEC and Big Ten may have ruined the sport. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about your least favorite team not named Kansas. The Tennessee Volunteers.
I don't like them.
Are they inside your circle of trust heading into a college football playoff?
You know what? I am going to put Tennessee outside of my circle of trust for this reason. They are on the fringe right now, and they go on the road to Georgia. They also go on the road and play Vanderbilt this season as well. They are not going 2-0 in those games. They're probably going 0-2 in those games because this is the best Vanderbilt team that I have ever remembered. So if you were asking me right now with the bracket being out there, do you think Tennessee is making the college football playoff? I'm going to tell them no. Sure, they got a great win at home against Alabama. That's a fantastic win. That's why they're in. Do you trust this Tennessee team with their inexperienced quarterback who has really struggled once they started playing real teams? Are they going on the road to beat Georgia? And could we argue that Vanderbilt has the better quarterback in that matchup? No, I'm fading Tennessee. They're outside my circle of trust.
Heading to their conference that nearly ruined the sport, the Big Ten.
Here you go, more hate.
Indiana is undefeated, Carrington, and they've done it.
I don't even need you to go any further. K-State fans, I'm leaving you. It was a one-week relationship. It was a fall fling is what it was. I'm a Hoosiers fan, baby. That's what you can do when your team's eliminated. I can jump from team to team. I'm a free agent. Yes. Put me down for the Indiana Hoosiers. They have Michigan at home. They're going to beat Michigan. They have a bye week on the road against Ohio State and Purdue. All they need to do is win 2 home games, and Indiana is absolutely going to the college football playoff. If you are a Big Ten team with 1 loss and your 1 loss is on the road against Ohio State, now, you can't get blown out in that game. Don't go out there and get beat 44-23. I don't know if you're going to have a serious leg to stand on. But if Indiana wins their remaining 2 home games and is super competitive against the Buckeyes, which I think they can be, Indiana's going to the college football playoff game. Put them inside my circle of trust. I'm a Hoosier now, baby.
Staying in.
Doing it for Bobby Knight. Doing it for Denny Krim. Doing it for, I don't know who else is on their team.
Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, doing it for him. I was thinking of Jared Jeffers. That's who I was trying to think of. Doing it for Tevin Campbell.
Staying in the state, Carrington, a 1-loss team that also lives in Indiana but is not in the same conference, Indiana. Notre Dame, are they inside your circle of trust?
You want to know why I hate the college football playoff, and I'm serious, man. When you used to lose a home game to Northern Illinois, that means you were out of it. We didn't have to talk about you anymore, but Notre Dame is still very, very much in it. They have Florida State, who's terrible, Virginia, who's kind of terrible. Now, they do have Army in a neutral site game, but we just saw this. They put the beat down on Navy. They'll probably end up doing the same thing. And USC, they've already changed their quarterback. Now, it is a road game, and college football is weird. I don't like Notre Dame. I don't know if I trust Notre Dame, but I do think they are going to make the college football playoff. So I guess for that reason, I am forced by mandate to put them inside my circle of trust.
Final one up against the clock. The ACC leader, Miami. They, in theory, have SMU. Are they inside your circle of trust?
Why would you not have Miami inside your circle of trust? What has Miami done to not be inside the circle of trust?
Let me rephrase
All
the
they
question.
do is win.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yes, they're winning the ACC.
Is the ACC a one-bid league? Because if so,
yes,
they can't afford a loss to SMU.
I agree with that. Yes. Yes, it is a one big league. I mean, who have they beaten?
I mean, you're talking about Indiana's schedule. Miami's beaten no one.
Bad.
Their best win's Cal.
On the road against Louisville. I'll give you on the road against Louisville.
Okay.
I'll give you. That's it, though. I ain't giving you nothing else. I ain't giving you nothing else. You should have lost to Virginia Tech, and you probably should have lost to Cal, too. They have been living on a prayer is what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. But you know what, man? This Miami team, they might have the Heisman Trophy winner on their team. They've been pretty good. Now, they got 2 road games. They got Georgia Tech and Syracuse, and we know road games are where playoff dreams go to die, but I think Miami takes care of business. I do think they're going to the college football playoff. I do think they'll be undefeated as we get to the Final 12. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's play a best of our conversation with James Palmer. Just want you guys to hear his thoughts on the NFL trade deadline. And I think we have seen 4 challengers emerge in the AFC. I'll tell you who they are. We also got Mayor Quentin Lucas coming up at 5 o'clock. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Let's talk about the buying experience at Lewisburg Ford.
It's the best anywhere. Just ask all our customers, Toby. It is hands down the best experience you can have buying a new car. We have the no-hassle Toby Tobin price that we've had for 35 years now. Nobody else can say that. We've been saving Kansas City thousands and thousands of dollars for a lot of years.
I have been buying Ford cars and trucks from Lewisburg Ford for over 30 years, and I know personally this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck. Great prices, but there's a whole lot more than that.
It doesn't just stop at price, Toby.
Yeah.
There's other factors to this equation, and it's trade-in allowance, financing, and the experience of how knowledgeable the people are that you're dealing with. And we surpass everybody in all those areas. We always have. We always will. That's why calling us is important.
Do you have that new pickup?
Absolutely. And it's dynamite.
Okay. Lewisburg Ford is your best place to buy a Ford car or truck. What's your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Lewisburg Ford or LewisburgFord.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Hey, Chiefs fans, this season it's time to share your gratitude. We want to hear from you about the Chiefs player you're thankful for. Call in and tell us your favorite Chiefs player and why they mean so much to you. Not only will you get to shout out your favorite player, but you'll also qualify to win $500 in Hy-Vee gift cards. That's right, $500 to spend on your favorite groceries, game day snacks, and more. Only at Hy-Vee. So, who's the Chief you're thankful for? Dial in now and share your story.
When it comes to car buying, you deserve options. So at Volkswagen Lease Summit, we have 3 incredible promotions to pick from. Choose no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 60 months, or we'll double your down up to $3,000. Pick out your car, then pick your promo at VWLeaseSummit.com.
Kansas City, it's Sean Barber. You know there's nothing easier than to enjoy watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings North Belt Highway in St. Joe on Friday, November 8th. I'll be there from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champ while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
For more, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. You could be on the 50 at GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Enter to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Metro Ford. Online at KCMetroFord.com.
At Metro Ford, family owned and operated means the same trusted faces every visit. Just 10 minutes from downtown. Plus, get peace of mind with our 5-year, 200,000-mile pre-owned warranty, including roadside assistance and emergency trip interruption. Only at Metro Ford. Online at KCMetroFord.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash, westbound 70 just past 71, closing the left lane in the downtown loop. Also another crash, northbound 49 highway to 140th Street, also stopping traffic. I'm Lori Pearson for 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. So I think we have seen an arms race conclude in the AFC. There's 4 contenders. Now, we might disagree on how big of contenders Pittsburgh is, but Pittsburgh kind of looks the part. I think they are improved at quarterback. I think they can run the football effectively, and they might have the best defense in the NFL, and they just acquired another wide receiver and a pass rusher. Pittsburgh, for now, I think deserves to be in the conversation with the other 3 teams. We already know about Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. All of those teams were pretty aggressive at the deadline and tried to address needs. Baltimore went out and they got a wide receiver and a corner. The Chiefs went out and got a possible Hall of Fame wide receiver. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they went out, they made a couple of moves. So you've seen kind of all these teams kind of tool up for the second half of the season. Now, Pittsburgh's schedule is treacherous. In Kansas City, they still play a lot of these teams. They play Houston. They play Pittsburgh. They play Buffalo here coming up in a couple of weeks. So I don't think that the 1 seed conversation is over. Sure, Kansas City has a tremendous advantage, and they can kind of end that conversation in the next couple of weeks. But you still got to go out there. You still got to take care of business, and you still have to win the right amount of games, and we'll see who has positioned themselves. I don't give Pittsburgh any ability to come into Kansas City and win. Baltimore and Buffalo could, just because I think they have good enough quarterback play and their roster strong enough that it would be a good game. Kansas City would get the advantage, but those teams can win. I think that Pittsburgh is clearly in a notch below those top 3 teams, but I do think they deserve to be in that conversation. So earlier in the show, we had James Palmer, formerly of NFL Network. He currently is with Bleacher Report. We had him on the show to kind of recap the NFL trade deadline, and we started our conversation about Marshawn Lattimore and the price just being a little bit too pricey for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was told that it was too rich for them. But I think the telling part of this, honestly, and I think I find it very, very interesting, is because obviously if you ask around the league, people will say, Marshawn probably doesn't play at the level he was playing a few years ago, which was, I don't know, top 3 or 4 at the position maybe. He's still very, very good. The belief for a lot of people is that he can, a change of scenery was just definitely needed. His relationship with DA maybe wasn't great, or all the injuries that he's had. Really injuries? Has there been some issues? Will a change of scenery change maybe the player that you're getting? The 3 teams that were the most interested in him really was Baltimore, Washington, and Kansas City. I think those are 3 pretty good general managers and 3 pretty well run organizations right now. And I think that kind of is telling by what they all kind of thought of Marshawn. And the reason you were able to do it is because also the contract was restructured to where he was essentially playing for the league minimum this year. He was going to be playing on the next 2 seasons, which are not guaranteed right now, but for like roughly $18 million to my understanding. So it was a pretty good move to make. It just got way too rich for both Baltimore and Kansas City, who usually go into free agency, rather measured, really do value picks, will make moves. We saw Brett Veach make them, but look at what he gave up. And so I think that kind of is telling of where the 3 franchises are, in 3 franchises that I think are run very well.
I also think it's pretty telling. You mentioned like too rich for the blood and finding value. You know as well as anybody that Kansas City has been in on trying to get DeAndre Hopkins. It feels like for 2 or 3 years, and it feels like all of that pursuit was pretty validated by what we saw on Monday Night Football. I'm not sure if Kansas City wins that game if they don't go make the trade to go get D-Hop. He was a major difference maker in a Chiefs win.
He was a major difference maker moving forward for the rest of the season. I think it's only going to snowball in terms of the relationship between him and Pat. And so to me, talking to people in Kansas City in that building yesterday, kind of, making the calls around the trades that are going on and everybody's having conversations, I was told specifically, go look at the second touchdown. Go look at the little look that Mahomes and Hop exchanged. That was a prime example to people in that building that these 2 are already chemistry-wise on the same page. I was told they really see the game the same way. They feel space and timing very similarly. And now they feel like with Juju coming back, they have 3 players that play really well with that understanding, that timing, that space in Kelsey, in Hop, and in Juju. Now they were very cognizant of going to the coaching staff and making sure that they could have both Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins on the field together, because both are probably at this point in their career better on the inside. We know this coaching staff. They were comfortable in being like, yeah, we can move some things around. We can do some different things with these guys. Hop is such a feel receiver. I think it's a perfect fit, and they did plenty of work, like you said, over the relationship that they've kind of developed with him a little bit and pursuing him as long as they have. Mid-season trades are sometimes, not all that impactful right away. This was because of the intel that they did on Hop.
Right now, we're talking to James Palmer, an NFL insider for Underdog and also Bleacher Report. Let's move now to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I am not a believer in Pittsburgh, but I have to admit this is a team that is running the football very effectively. They might have the second best defense in the league in my mind behind Kansas City, and Russ is an upgrade at the quarterback position. Are you a believer in Pittsburgh? Because their schedule is about to get much tougher in the second half than it was in the first.
It's the toughest schedule in football, the second half. I mean, it is. And I'd keep an eye on that Chargers defense, too, by the way. They're playing outstanding. I think they're number one in points per game allowed. But anyway, I would say with Pittsburgh, this move, both of them, honestly, are very telling. Let's start with Mike Williams, who is talking to people in that building, is a 50-50 ball guy, a big body guy. They like the veteran presence. They think he's going to continue to get healthier as the season goes on because obviously coming off of the ACL. What type of receivers does Russell Wilson like to play with? Big body guys that are 50-50 ball guys. And I think this is telling that the compliment to George Pickens that they went and got almost tells me we're rolling with Russ moving forward. Like, this is fitting what, Russell Wilson does with us as an offense. And then when you go out and get Preston Smith, this is a guy that Mike Tomlin has liked for a long time. And I think he can be in a rotational role. It wasn't a great fit when they changed defenses in Green Bay. And now you get to be a little bit deeper as a defense to get after the quarterback. When you mentioned who they have in the second half, I don't want to misspeak, but my guess off the top of my head, I think is what? They got the Commanders, they have the Eagles, they have the Chiefs, right? They have Cincinnati twice, Baltimore twice. Like, this is a crazy second half of the season for Pittsburgh. So you got to be deeper at getting after the quarterback.
I mean, I've never seen a team that has a schedule like Pittsburgh has. I mean, they haven't played a game in their division yet. So just think about that, how tough that division is. They haven't played a game in their division, and they still have Washington, Philadelphia, and Kansas City in addition to every other game in the AFC North. That's the toughest schedule in the second half, and it's not close.
It's not close. It's bonkers. So I think you got to be deeper. We know what that North is like, right? It's usually, I hinted on it with Baltimore, the way they felt like they've limped into the postseason a couple of years in a row. It's because of that division, man. It's a slugfest every week. Even though Cleveland is not, what maybe some people thought they would be this year, they'll sleep on Jim Schwartz in that defense, right? And Myles Garrett getting after you. And, it's a physical division. And now I think what they wanted to do is Preston coming in, and they get an opportunity to be a little bit deeper up front because it's going to be a slugfest with them coming into the postseason. But they're going to get into the postseason, right? They win. They're over 500 every year. Mike Tomlin's unbelievable.
So that was our conversation with James Palmer. If you want to check out the best of that conversation, you can do so over on 96.5 The Fan and 96.5thefan.com. It is going to be a very entertaining second half of the season with those four teams. And, Kansas City plays two of these other teams. They have already played Baltimore. They have beat them. They play Buffalo next week, and they play Pittsburgh on Christmas. So I still think the one-seed conversation is open. I don't think that Buffalo has a great chance, but is there a possibility that these two teams could go 14-3, but Buffalo has the tiebreaker, so they get the 1 seed? Yeah, sure. But it's all really predicated on next week. But you got to deal with next week when you get there. They got a tough task against the Broncos team that I think has one of the better defenses in the National Football League. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by the mayor of Kansas City, Mayor Quinn Lucas. We'll talk about Amendment 2 that is passed in Kansas City, what that means, when you'll be able to place a bet on the Missouri side. And there also was an update regarding the downtown stadium. We'll get his thoughts. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Got a two-car crash. Cordell traffic cam showing the right lane closed of southbound 29 at North Oak Trafficway in North Kansas City. Lots of slowdowns around it. Slow into downtown via northbound 35. Also the southern lanes of the downtown loop. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan traffic.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. You get the idea. And now, get yours with $1 any size soft drink. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
We've had more than our fair share of hail and wind this year. Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com? Just plug in your address and we'll pull a multi-year storm report. You'll know exactly what your roof has been put through and if you even need an inspection. If you do, no one is more thorough and works better with your insurance than locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. And if you need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime warranty on workmanship. Don't play Roofer Roulette with your home. Visit jrstormcheck.com and remember, you're always better with a roof from JR. Visit jrstormcheck.com.
Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you.
Join 96.5 The Fan at Community America Credit Union's Red Friday tailgate this Friday from 11 till 1 at their branch off 64th Street in KC Mo. Take photos with Chiefs cheerleaders and KC Wolves, score Chiefs gear, and win tickets to an upcoming Chiefs game. All at Community America's 64th Street branch in KC Mo.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Now, your Live Nation lineup.
Don't miss these upcoming shows. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Saturday, December 7th at T-Mobile Center. Sebastian Maniscalco, Saturday, February 22nd at T-Mobile Center. And Weird Al Yankovic, Thursday, June 26th at Starlight.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
Listen to the Chiefs and Broncos game on Sunday with pregame starting at 9, kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much for listening. It is The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri. Mayor Quentin Lucas joins us on the show. We'll get his thoughts on Amendment 2 passing. And also, there was a report from downtown Kansas City's official website about the future of the Kansas City Royals. Mayor Lucas, happy to have you on today, man. I know today's a busy day for you.
Today is a busy day, but always good to talk to you, and I appreciate a conversation about sports betting and the future of sports here in Missouri, Kansas City, and our whole region.
Let's just start with this. How happy are you that you never have to drive over to Kansas to place a sports bet? Because I know you've been in that situation before where you got to get in the car, you got to just narrowly go over on the other side of state line, then you got to go home, and it just ends up taking 20 minutes out of your day that you're going to be able to skip here in a few months.
Well, my brother, as you know, the hardest part, it'd be one thing if I was 25-year-old, Q, trying to just find some bar or something to hang out with. If it's Sunday morning and you got like a kid screaming and all of that, and you're like, yo, let me pretend to go make a run at this grocery store in Merriam or something, right? Your spot gets blown up real quick. So that's why we're, excited to actually have this solved and resolved in many different ways.
Mayor, are you surprised that it was as close as it was? Now, we'll talk more about the Kansas City side of it because it passed here locally overwhelmingly. It's like 64% of the vote if you add up all of the counties. But that was not the same around the state. Are you surprised that it basically was a coin flip that this got approved statewide?
You know what? I'm actually not. So there were a few different trends that were going on during the election. One is, of course, that this whole, is there funding going to schools? Is there not? Do we fund schools enough? It was a very interesting intellectual exercise. I was happy to be a part of it. But I think what I said, and I think what a bunch of other people said was, y'all, this is a question about, are we going to do sports betting, yes or no? This is not a question about all the fundamentals of school funding. I'd like to see a lot more. This isn't the interview for that today. And I think what at the very end they started saying, I know I did this, the mayor of St. Louis said, this is just a question of, do you want people going to Kansas? Do you want people going to Illinois? Do you want them getting a VPN and doing it online in some other way? Or do you want to try to capture revenue? One, capture revenue. And second, remove this barrier to something that a lot of Missourians are already doing. I think, the people of Missouri voted for freedom on this, but there was a lot of drama in it. And I'll also say this, there are a lot of people, oddly enough, in Missouri who are a lot more unsettled about sports betting than they are about legal marijuana or reproductive health and all of that. And that's interesting also. But, we had those conversations, and I'm glad, even if it's a close race, it came out in the right way.
I think a lot of people were like me. Now, admittedly, I don't know where the money is going or where it's supposed to go. Correct. I watch the commercials. I just don't know. But I voted for convenience on this issue. Right now, it is not convenient for me. I have to go over to Kansas. I got to do this. Like, it takes time out of my day. Where now one vote is, well, I just got to vote yes on this thing, and now I can just do this from my couch, and I don't really have to change any part of my life. I think the yes crowd is probably a lot of people on that side. At least my opinion. The no side is these people don't maybe seem as confident that the money is going to go where people are telling them it's going to go.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think there's a third of the electorate that say we don't want y'all doing immoral things. And those people show up for every issue. But you're absolutely right. There was probably about another 17% who were there just saying, I'm not trusting the money. Y'all lie to us all the time. Why aren't we doing this right for education? This is just like riverboat gambling back in the early 1990s. We're going to vote no on that, and they can come back with a better plan. And a bunch of those people actually reached out to me throughout the process. And I would tell them the very thing you said. I mean, there were a few simple reasons to vote for this. One, incredible inconvenience to Missourians now. Two, it is already happening. And three, you know what, if you're going to make some revenue, that might as well be revenue in Missouri. And so, not knowing where it all goes perfectly, all of that, this is a no tax increase for all of us who are out in our lives buying groceries, all of that. That allows us, I think, to create more revenue opportunities long term, not just for the state of Missouri, but for entertainment venues, sports teams, and beyond.
Right now, we're talking to the mayor of Kansas City, Mayor Quentin Lucas, getting his thoughts on Amendment 2 passing here locally. What timeline are you hearing? I think some people thought this was going to be as easy as they were just going to take the restriction off of FanDuel and you can start doing it today. I think we know that's not how it's going to work. Do you have any idea? Are we talking about the next 90 days, next 180 days? When is a realistic timetable of when people in Missouri can start placing sports bets?
Interestingly enough, I do, because I've been sued enough times to know how all these things work. So the Secretary of State, who I don't think is a fan of this amendment or most, has until I think about mid-December to certify the results. They'll do that, so look for that being December 10th-ish, 15th-ish. Then you go through a further process state administratively where they have to wait, I think, up to 20 days. That gets you then into January. After January, then it becomes the law, and it's a constitutional right, actually, to sports bet, which is fascinating in how we do it, but it's what you got to do, and the legislature won't do anything. And then after that, they promulgate rules. That's going to be what actually takes time. You go to the Office of Administration, there's a Missouri Gaming Commission, they're going to promulgate those rules. It should be fairly quickly for them to do it right. So I think this is a probably 60 to 90-day window. I think if we're being ambitious, we say you can bet by the Super Bowl. Certainly, I think if you're not betting by March Madness, then they started slowing it down way too much. But that would be a first quarter of 2025 sort of thing. And unfortunately, y'all got to keep driving for the rest of the NFL season.
Yeah, I think most people would take that. If you're telling me that right now you'll be able to place a sports bet about around the AFC-NFC championship game, that seems like a reasonable amount of time. You get that. You obviously, I'm assuming that DraftKings and FanDuel also want to get this in place for the Super Bowl. That's probably their biggest day. You got March Madness right around the corner. That makes a lot of sense to me.
No, I think, you know what, I think it will make sense. And I think there's another kind of attractive feature to it all, which is that it gives an opportunity for, say, Power and Light District wants to do more, say that there are others who want to do all types of things. This gives us a chance to say, hey, let's set it up. Let's get our sports book ready. Let's actually try to make this so it's not just a random sort of thing, that instead it's the sort of thing that, like, you know, is nice. It's well set up. There are great revenue opportunities. It's the sort of thing that all of us in Missouri can be proud of.
Right now, we're talking to the mayor of Kansas City, Mayor Quentin Lucas, here for a couple more minutes. What do you think this means for the team? Like, one part that was a part of the messaging was all the team's logos were there and they support it. No reason why the teams wouldn't support it. But in Kansas, some of this money goes towards trying to build a stadium. What use do the team have for this, and how do you think the teams are going to use this now that sports gambling is legal on the side where the Chiefs and Royals currently play?
I mean, let's not get it twisted. First of all, I love Kansas. I love everything about it and our whole region. The Kansas amount of money is basically like, you know, $1.2 million and a bucket of peanuts. I mean, it is not nearly enough money to generate revenue to the extent you need it. Hence why you've seen these conversations of the Magic Star bonds. They talked about rediverting lottery revenues, all that sort of stuff. It is not a lot that they will be generating from that. In Missouri, I think the idea is this. One, you do support gaming operations, but the biggest opportunity for the teams is the revenue opportunities for themselves. So it's not redirection of tax revenue long term. That was never going to be the play. It's what can they set up at Arrowhead to make it a more an even lengthier experience. Right now, if you're going to tailgate, you are paying for your price of parking, which is significant. But what you're not doing is spending money that they get in a cut of for those 4 hours. You bought your beers out at, you know, whatever grocery store sponsors Carrington, right? You did all this other stuff. They want to be part of that revenue conversation. I went to a basketball game in Phoenix. For those who have been there, I think, what is it, the Footprint Center or something now? You go there, right? There's a sports book inside the arena itself. You can spend a lot of time there. You can leave during the game. You can place updated bets, and the team can get a cut of literally all of that. That sort of retail space opportunity, that sort of activation opportunity, the fact that there are going to be people there at all hours before the game, during, and probably after for the late games is exactly why I think the teams are so excited to be a part of it. And that does allow them to look at their facilities. And we've been seeing this trend for years. It is more than a place just to watch a game, for better or worse. This is just where society is now. This is a place where they want to be able to capture your revenue, where you're going to be part of, kind of the game day experience. Has a lot more sports betting to it, and it's a little bit of what you have if you go to Vegas for March Madness or do any of the other stuff. It's just now you get to see a game too.
I mean, if you're telling me that they're going to add a sports book inside of Arrowhead, or you're going to be able to place a bet inside Kauffman Stadium, and they're going to accommodate that, sign me up for it.
You know, hey, it's what you are seeing in other leagues. I think the NBA has probably been the most aggressive so far on it. To be fair, that sports book, which is inside the arena, they probably claim it's a little bit off the arena in the same building. I imagine they would look to some sort of balance on that, but this is the way things are going. You're seeing that direction. You are seeing more sports betting. It kind of started with fantasy football. The leagues have gone away from what it was for most of our lifetimes, where you remember they were very reluctant to have it even close. Now with Vegas, so many other steps with it, I think you're going to see a closer relationship, more revenue opportunities, better entertainment venues, and I think that does help the teams staying in Missouri.
So there was a recent ribbon cutting at the new Buck O'Neill Bridge, and they quoted you in this story that I read, that you told 41 that you're hopeful about the downtown stadium and you were expecting some new steps to be announced by the end of the year. Can you just kind of update people where we are on the downtown stadium for the Royals?
My view is a very simple one, that the Royals will be playing downtown 10 years from now. I have not wavered, because here's the thing that is interesting, right? We've gone through every drama known to man. There was a conversation last January. Will Jackson County put it on the ballot? There was the April vote. No, everybody was, saying all of these horribles are incurring. There was then the Star Bonds vote. Oh, my God, they're leaving tomorrow. nothing happens. Nothing keeps happening. What we do need to do are a few things. Kansas City government has continued to talk to the Royals. I think I've met with them now. We did the math the other day about 21 times. We're going to continue to have active and robust discussions. I talked to the governor-elect of Missouri today. We're from different political parties, but we have a shared view on the importance of keeping these teams in Kansas City. I think you're going to see a very active effort from him. He is already connected to the current gubernatorial administration, but I think you have a governor-elect going in with this as a priority. It is City Hall's priority. The chat about baseball a lot lately has been how can the city help handle that, with perhaps a state and county conversation as to the Chiefs. And I think you're going to continue to see more progress in us getting all of this done. I think the Royals want to see that done. Certainly local government does. I think the governor-elect does. Members of the Missouri legislature, I've met with them too, all Republicans. I'm doing my reach across the aisle. This is too big a deal for the state of Missouri and the city of Kansas City to not get it done.
So there was the proposed Washington Square Park idea, and I haven't really heard much follow-up. How viable is that idea? Do you think that's the realistic location? I mean, if they want to go downtown, there's just not a whole lot of space for them to put it. If they're not going to put it in the crossroads like with the original plan, and it seems like they don't like the East Village idea, again, you're kind of running out of possible spots for it to be. Is Washington Square Park kind of where they are hoping that it's going to land?
I think, look, it's a very realistic idea. It's a very practical idea, and it's one for which there's been a lot of work done. So, I expect that to be one that gets fully vetted. I think the next question is less kind of where can you put a stadium, because it turns out in a city that has the best sports architects and engineers in the world, you can figure it out in a lot of places in Kansas City and throughout the region. I think the bigger thing is how do you fund it? How do you fund the nearby infrastructure, and what's the impact on neighborhoods nearby? The positive of Washington Square Park is because you're between Union Station, Crown Center, and basically you're not, obstructing local businesses. It doesn't tear down any active business. You have parking garages to the tune of, I think, about 15,000 spots within a very close walking distance of 2 blocks or 3 blocks or less right next to it. So it's a very viable idea. That being said, if the Royals are interested and call tomorrow about any of these other steps, we are always intrigued by that. That being said, I like us maximizing the value of public transit investment, parking garages, density, all the things that make it cool to go to a game in Baltimore if you've been. And I will even say it, St. Louis if you've gone down to Busch Stadium. And so it can be done. It can be done in the Midwest. It has been done. And that's why I think Washington Square Park is viable, as well as the rest of downtown. And I'll make this final point on this. The Royals have been talking for the last 2-3 years about downtown. And while their definition of downtown is flexible, right, what they weren't just talking about is, hey, let's just stay in a suburban parking lot and kind of build the same thing. If they want to do that, let's do Truman Sports Complex and save $1 billion or more and just build up some stuff, hotels and all that around it. There's good opportunity here downtown, and I think we will be able to get that done.
Last thing here, I guess, to kind of wrap this up. What's next? Because it's kind of gone quiet, but understandable. It was a pretty important election yesterday. Now that that's over, there's still another very important local issue in regards to where the Chiefs are going to play, where the Royals are going to play. What's next? What does the next 30 to 60 days look like for both of these teams as we are all kind of waiting to hear what they want to say?
A few things. I think it is imperative that the Royals get something figured out. I think even at this point, there's fatigue among probably your listeners, everybody in the fan base, and I would think your government officials in Missouri and Kansas in connection with how long are we going to have this chat, how many different ideas can we vet, and frankly, the political time we're taking, right? This is the day after a presidential and gubernatorial and prosecutorial election. I have a lot of other things to do, y'all do, and we have a lot of other work to do. So we want to make sure that, yes, this is a priority, but we want to make sure we address the many other priorities. So I think it's imperative, particularly for the Royals. It's off season. It was a very good season. It's a time when you have a new governor in Missouri, a new legislature getting seated. If you get it done quick, this is the sort of thing that could have good legislative support. We're all talking about a groundbreaking by this spring. If you delay even further, then I don't know, you're flirting with Kansas, you're doing other things, and we do this for another year and a half. I don't think anybody wants that. I don't think the Royals want that, so it's imperative they get it done soon. On the Chiefs, they're in a slightly different position, mid-season, good season for them, of course, and I think you have a few more characters at play and probably a slightly larger monetary ask given the size of football stadiums, the types of things they're wanting to do, so that might be stretched out a little bit longer.
Last thing here, Mayor Q, you know what? I actually finally believe you on the streetcar. I believe it's going to be ready. I've been seeing the progress as somebody that lives downtown. I actually believe that you guys are going to get it done when you say. I just can't wait until we all get Main Street back. Main Street has been an absolute disaster for far too long. Please give us Main Street back.
My man, we are going to make Main Street great again. It's coming soon, early 2025, my brother.
You know what, Mayor Q? I'm guessing that this was your easiest interview all day. I'm going to guess that you had way more stressful interviews today.
It has been more stressful. You know, it is interesting, but I will say this. I was mayor during the Trump administration. The Chiefs were winning Super Bowls back then, too, so I just hope at least on that regard it is status quo, and everything else is going to be all right as long as we can just place our bets, love our sports team, and just keep living as happy Kansas Cityans.
That is the mayor of Kansas City, Mayor Quinn Lucas, joining us on the show today. Thank you, Mayor Q.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Absolutely. That is Mayor Quentin Lucas joining us on the show today. Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT. So when do you think we'll be able to bet? Well, we just heard from the mayor. He believes before the Super Bowl that we are going to be able to place bets in the state of Missouri. Someone else said, why do the stadiums need to have sportsbook if you can bet from your phone? Because they will then become the bookie. Like, they will become the book. And I think it's also just another space, kind of like what Rival Sports Bar is and kind of like the Craft and Draft. Like, if you were telling me in a really hot day for the Royals, I can go inside, sit down, have a beer, there's games on, and I can walk up to the counter and bet, they absolutely want to create that space for you. And they probably also want to create those spaces for watch parties, and you can go up there and do all that. So trust me. The Chiefs and Royals, they are going to, one of those two, they're building a sportsbook right inside of the arena. It's way too much space. It's way too much room. People are already doing it on their phone. Why go up to the window and do it? FanDuel will sponsor it. DraftKings will sponsor it. You can just do it right here. We'll sell you a $13 beer. You can watch the games, and you can just walk up to the window and place a bet.
I mean, on top of that, everything you're saying is correct. On top of that, let's be honest about what the future of stadiums is. It is luxury bar areas inside of stadiums. That is what it is.
Yeah, like, for sure.
To an extent, Arrowhead has this right now, too. Carrington, if you've ever been on the club level at Arrowhead, it's got the big windows. It overlooks the parking lots, carpeted. It's got, climate control. It's a very nice deal. If you can build one of those on the lower level, on the lower concourse or on the upper concourse, or keep it in the club level, and it's a climate-controlled bar, food, sports book, it is going to be where people go during the game.
Absolutely.
And if they're in there, it's one-stop shop. They buy the $25 chicken tenders, the $13 beer, and then they bet $30 on the Chiefs' money line in the second half. And you know what the Chiefs just did? Pocketed a lot of money. That's why these things exist. Luxury is the future of stadiums.
And I also think, too, I would say the sports gambling guy is a lot like CrossFit guy and a lot like Bitcoin guy. You know what sports betting guy loves to do? Loves to talk about it with other people that are in that circle. And if you think about it, in our city, there's not a lot of those kind of places. There's only one sports book in the city right now, and it's at Hollywood Casino. So if you're like me and you live downtown, I'm driving all the way out there to watch a game on television. No, I'm probably not doing all of that. But what I think you're going to see is they're just going to start popping up around the city. That now Harrah's is about to have one. Bally Sports is about to have one. It's close to downtown, and it's right across from a sporting venue. So that's about to be it. Think about it. People park already over there to go to a sporting event. Hey, why don't you stop in here? Why don't you get a beer? Why don't you watch the game? Or after the current game is over, hey, stop over here, watch a little college football, get something to eat, and place the bet over here. So those spaces are just about to pop up. And if you were telling me that something's about to happen in Missouri or Kansas and the Royals and the Chiefs aren't going to get in on it and now it's in their backyard, you're crazy. You think the Chiefs are going to let you bet on the Chiefs and they're not about to create their own space for you to bet on the Chiefs? Tell me what world that they live in. Rally House is selling Chiefs apparel. You know they're selling it at the gift shop. So, yeah, no, they are absolutely about to create this space. The Royals will have this space up. If it's open at the time that he said by the Super Bowl, the Royals will have a space ready for opening day for you to go and do it. It might not be a big space, and it'll grow over time, but they will absolutely create a space for you to go up there and gamble. It just makes no sense for them not to.
It also is an opportunity for the teams to keep you in the venue throughout the game. Like, that's probably more a problem for baseball than football, but let's lay the scenario out. You mentioned the Royals, so let's talk about it. You go in the third inning, you're walking around the stadium, you're getting a hot dog, you're getting the brisket nachos, you walk into their sports book. You know what they're going to hand you? A physical ticket. You know how you're going to cash out that ticket? Either come back to a game in the future, or at the end of the game, I'm going to get cashed out.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you have Royals money line, it's 1-1 after the third, and it's 2-1 Royals heading into the 9th, you might think, hey, it's a Tuesday, I'm going to beat traffic. No.
You're staying there.
Staying there.
Yeah, you're going to stay.
You know what's happening? You stay there. You're in your seats. Now they might be able to get another hot dog out of you, or you go to the sports afterwards, you tab out. Maybe you're in there and you hang out and you get yourself, a little to-go cocktail before you get out of there. There is a million reasons why teams are doing this, and I know it's not the most popular sport in America, but if you look across the pond, all those mega stadiums in Europe, they all have sports books in them. This is just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, 100%. And, the reason I think we're talking about this, why I think that it matters is, this passed overwhelmingly in Kansas City. Sure, I know what the numbers say across the entire state, but if you look at Cass County, Jackson County, Platte County, and Clay County, this passed with 65% of the vote here. And I would guess just listeners to Sports Talk Radio, this passed an even higher percentage of voters that went out there yesterday. So this is something that I don't claim to know everything about this, like the ins and outs or where the money is going to go. That's not what drove me to the polls yesterday to vote on this. This was a vote for me for convenience. This has made my sports betting experience more convenient. I'm not going to make it seem like I'm out here winning $100 parlays every week. No, this is a casual recreational activity for me. I play a little bit here, a little bit there. It's fun to talk about with your friends. It is an enjoyable hobby that I have. My hobby has now become easier due to this. That's simple. It's become easier. Y'all figure out the money part of it. I don't got nothing to do with that. Y'all figure the money part out. And I hope that the money goes to what you said it was going to go to. I want the teachers to get paid more. I told you guys a whole story last week how I think the teachers are angels and how they should go on the front lines when it was time for us to go to heaven. I got all the respect in the world for teachers. I hope you are not cheating them out of any money. They were not my motivating factor for voting yes on this. My own personal comfort and convenience was the number one motivating factor for this. I'm tired of waking up on Sunday and having to drive over to Kansas to do this. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to stay, Rob, 40, 45 minutes after work. Me and you are going through trying to make sure everything's straight before I drive over. I don't got to do this anymore. I don't have to see KU be a home dog because they're down 10-2, and I got to try to call Rob up to see if I don't got to do that anymore. I'm rich now. I'm rich after this.
You know what you're about to be a big fan of? Live betting.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Live betting is the best. How many times have me and you or the boss or Gold or, not Gold, me, you or the boss or Cody or someone in the office, Dusty, talked about, I heard the following sentence a lot. Man, I knew the Chiefs were down, but you knew they were going to win. I wonder what the live number was. Wonder no more, my friend. You can open your app the same way I open my app, and you can take that live money line. It creates a whole new level of fun. As opposed to talking about hedging your bets, you can actually do it and hedge your bets. You're going to love it.
Someone on the text line. This is, the weird. I'm not weird. That's a poor way of saying it. But like people are like, well, why would you do the in-person over betting on the phone? Maybe you guys just haven't been to Royals games. Everybody that's at the Royals game is not there to watch baseball. I know that's hard to believe, but I've been to Royals games before. Some people are there because it's an outdoor activity. Some of them are out there to just drink beers and just catch the vibe. And if you were telling me that I can go out there, the NBA playoffs are also on, I can watch a little bit of baseball. Hey, these tickets were free for me anyway. I feel like we all been to enough Royals games to know, yes, some people are not going to go to I don't really go to Craft and Draft very often, the rival sports book. I walk past it. It's a lot of people that are in there, and trust me, they are not concerned so much with the baseball game. All right, coming up on the other side, let's talk about the Chiefs, and the AFC is starting to clear itself up. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland's Men's Health. I recently learned something. Did you know that half of the men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction? It also can affect younger men. ED isn't just a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationships. And over at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team offers up solutions with a success rate that's over 90%. You can enjoy intimacy without the anxiety. Take back control. And for just $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, test, and even a test dose. And if it doesn't work, your visit is on the house. It's totally free. Men are getting back to enjoying a vibrant sex life just one day after their appointment with my friends over at Heartland's Men's Health, and that's what I want for you. Go stop by any one of the 3 area locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Don't settle. Pick up the phone and call my friend at Heartland's Men's Health at 844-447-6600 or check out heartlandmenshealth.com. Get your life back today.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat. With your holiday proposal just around the corner, Shane Company is here to help you create your dream engagement ring. This is your moment. Let's make it magical. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've helped tons of couples find a beautiful engagement ring for a price that works with their budget. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. At Shane Company, we have the widest selection of ring settings and center stones, in stock and ready to compare side by side. It's so easy. Choose a look that brings your vision to life. From classic styles to modern designs, we have them all. Then pick out a natural or lab-grown diamond, a sapphire in your favorite color, or a vibrant gemstone like ruby or amethyst. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, your forever after is safe with us. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. We've got your dream ring and fine jewelry gifts for everyone on your list. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
If you're in need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Now, every Wednesday, you can get parlay profit boosts on everything from spreads to over-unders and even player props. So don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Who knows? It might just become your favorite day. Look for the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find your profit boosts. New to FanDuel? Visit FanDuel.com/610Bob. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas, opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Fall in the Midwest is pleasant. The air is crisp, the temperatures are mild, and all is right with the world. But every one of you knows that lurking around the corner is creepy old man Winter. He wants to come into your home, put his feet up on the couch, and take over the remote. That's why you need to replace your drafty old windows with triple glass replacement windows from Thermo King. Triple glass? But weren't you told that double glass windows were all you'd ever need? Think again. Triple glass windows offer double the insulating barriers against creepy old man Winter than double glass windows. And their super strong frames are guaranteed to never twist, warp, fade, or fail. And right now, Thermo King is selling their triple glass windows for the same price as double glass. Who would do such a thing? Thermo King, that's who. So don't let this beautiful weather fool you. Protect your home from creepy old man Winter and call Thermo King today. 888-KING-WIN or online at thermokingwindows.com.
Winchester at Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Independence is the largest manufacturer of small-caliber ammunition for the U.S. military. They're hiring technicians starting at $26.72 an hour with a $1,000 hiring bonus. Excellent day-one benefits include medical, dental, educational support, paid time off, and company retirement contributions up to 8%. Join Winchester and serve the U.S. warfighter. It's more than a job. It's a mission. Apply at winchester.com/careers.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Slowdowns around a two-car crash southbound 435 at Front Street, and emergency vehicles northbound 35 to 7th Street trafficway. Just looking at delays both north and southbound 35 in that area. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right. Happy to be back. I asked this question earlier. I'll ask those of you coming in for the 5 o'clock audience. Let's say in the postseason, there are 20 running back carries to be divvied up. And in this hypothetical, I'm only giving them to two guys. I'm giving Pacheco and Kareem Hunt the carries. How would you divvy up the 20 carries? I would probably have it like a 12-5, 13, or I guess 12-8, 13-7 kind of split. I do think that Isaiah Pacheco is the better of the two running back. I think he's the more explosive out of those two. At this point, I would say that there is only one sort of fear when it comes to Kareem Hunt. It's just usage and how much he has touched the ball in a short period of time. He has 97 carries in the last 4 Chiefs games. He is on pace right now to have 377 carries this season. Now, I don't think he's going to get to 377. I do think Isaiah Pacheco comes back, and that takes a workload off of him. But just to give you a comparison of how much they have used Kareem Hunt over the course of the first 4 starts for him, he has 97 carries over the last 4 games. Derrick Henry has 73 carries. Saquon Barkley has 84 carries. They are using him more than any team in the National Football League right now is using their running back. So I think that Isaiah Pacheco coming back is a positive, not just for the team. It's also a positive for Kareem Hunt. I still want him to be in the mix. I still want him to be a short yardage back. I still want him to catch the ball out of the backfield. And he still has very much a role on this team. But what they are doing with Kareem Hunt is not sustainable for the next 3 months of the season. And them getting Isaiah Pacheco back is going to be a big positive for this team to just kind of minimize some of the wear and tear for him, for a guy that I think you're going to need down the stretch, especially, I mean, they have a stretch where they play 3 games in a 10-day stretch. You're going to need both Pacheco and you're going to need Kareem Hunt during that stretch to kind of keep guys fresh and not wear them down as we get towards the more important games of the season. So that's how I would divvy up the carries. I'd have it around 12-8, 13-7, somewhere in that range.
I have it at 15-5, 14-6, somewhere in that range. And what you just said about Kareem Hunt's usage is why I think the Chiefs are in that same category too. They are going to use every ounce of good ball Kareem Hunt has left. And based on the usage they are using him and his age and his time in the NFL, it is a short time, not a long time. Kareem Hunt does not feel like a guy who's going to be here for next year, year after that, or whenever. So I think they are going to use every bit of Kareem Hunt, and you will see around Christmas time when you are getting ready for the Texans and the Steelers and you're out shopping for the kids, you will see a slowdown from Kareem Hunt based on those numbers alone. So by the playoffs, Pacheco will be healthy. He'll be the, more fresh back. And I think that's when they will give the full-time job back to Pacheco, and it will be 15-5. Now, I think those 5 are going to be important. Hey, it's 3rd and 2. Get us 3. Hey, it's 1st and goal. We need to score here. Take the ball, pound it in there. Hey, it's 4th and 1. Get us a first down. I think they can still maximize Kareem Hunt's efficiency, but based on the amount they're using him, they are going to turn and burn, use and abuse him. So by the time Pacheco's back, I am betting that he is more gassed out than he is now. So I will say 15-5 to Pacheco.
Yeah, this is where I think we're doing a little bit of revisionist thinking. Like someone said, I don't think it's about the number, but Hunt in short yardage and goal line gets the carries. Pacheco hasn't shown that he can be consistent in short yardage situations. I don't really think that's fair to Isaiah Pacheco, where the Chiefs have shown a commitment to giving Kareem Hunt the chances in these opportunities that they've never really given him. Like, you're telling me Pacheco, with his run style and the offensive line that they have, what I give the Chiefs a lot of credit for is they really haven't tried to get cutesy with Kareem Hunt. No, it has been Patrick Mahomes, turn around, hand the ball off to him, and run forward. How many times did we come on here and complain about them just getting real cutesy with Pacheco at the goal line and trying to do all of these things? But wait, hold on. Like, I see how tough of a runner he is. Give him the football and do it, where they have just shown hey, it's 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. They're not being as cutesy now. Turn around and hand the ball to Kareem Hunt. And if it doesn't work on 1st down, let's turn around and let's do the same thing again on 2nd down. Like, I think this has been a blessing for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's kind of helped Andy get out of his own way a little bit, where it has just really made them lock in on what they are and what their strengths are. Right now, the strength of the Kansas City Chiefs is running the ball behind Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. I think that has been the strength of this team for some time. And now, because that's the strength of their running game, they've really leaned into it a little bit more. There's not many things that I think that Kareem Hunt is better than Isaiah Pacheco at. And I don't think he needs to be better than Isaiah Pacheco. I think Pacheco is a tougher runner than he is. I think he's more explosive than he is. I think he can catch the ball out of the backfield. But that doesn't mean that now you have a really good 1B option. This is the best 1B option they've had in quite some time. I've been surprised to see as many, what happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Hopefully nothing. He hasn't had a single carry so far this season, and it has gone... Right now, in my opinion, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the 5th best running back they could have on their team. He's the 5th best running back. I'd rather give the ball to Isaiah Pacheco. I'd rather give the ball to Kareem Hunt. I'd rather give the ball to Samaje Perine. I trust Carson Steele more than I trust him. There's not really a place for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, at least on my roster. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he is coming back or not coming back, but we are past the first half of the season, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been nowhere to be found. And you got to tell me why, in a world in which those two guys get healthy, and I think Pacheco was coming back before the Black Friday game, you got to tell me a world in which I'm taking carries away from Kareem Hunt, I'm taking carries away from Isaiah Pacheco, I'm taking opportunities in the pass game away from Samaje Perine, so I can draw some things up for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If I'm going to get 3.8 yards per carry with Kareem Hunt, or with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'd much rather give them to Kareem Hunt. At least I trust him on 3rd and 2. I don't know what you think Clyde Edwards-Helaire role could be on this team, so I'm not really worried about figuring out a way to give him more opportunities.
I mean, it makes no sense to me. I mean, maybe the 1 or 2 carries Carson Steele gets disappear and go to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but those seem like just a waste of everyone's time and energy. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just going to be healthy DMP a lot of the games this season. Maybe week 17, week 18, if the Chiefs have iced it down, he's running back. But I don't think that the Chiefs are sitting around one Arrowhead Drive right now, and it's Nagy and it's, Reed and Mahomes, and they're the brain structure of the Chiefs. They're like, hey, for that Bills game, how do we get Clyde Edwards-Helaire some touches? That is not a thing happening at One Arrowhead Drive.
Someone on the text line says, do you think that D-Hop's emergence will make Andy go back to the pass happy? I actually think that we've seen Andy turn. I think they used Isaiah Pacheco very much correctly in the playoff. I think they identified who one of their most important players are. So I don't think we're going to really see much of a change for this team. I think this is who they are for right now. Their team was pretty balanced. They still threw it more than they ran it. Patrick Mahomes threw it 44 times. Think about that. This team barely has 2 wide receivers that you can rub together. They still threw it 44 times, but they ran it 27 times with Kareem Hunt. They controlled the line of scrimmage, they controlled time of possession, and they dominated the game. So this is the formula. That might not always be the formula for this team, but what I think you have to appreciate about the Chiefs is it's their willingness to adjust. Whatever the rules are and what they need to do based on their roster, that's how they're going to win. They're not trying to win these games by Mahomes going out there and throwing for 300 yards and being spectacular. No, if we got to grind you into dust and run it 25 times, we don't care if we get 85 yards rushing. We're going to control the line of scrimmage, and that's what I think they're doing with Kareem Hunt. Coming up on the other side, Spectre thinks that Mahomes should be in the MVP conversation. We'll play for you his reasoning. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Pizza Taccio, the king of Kansas City's New York-style pizza scene, has taken KC by storm. Pizza Taccio uses the highest quality local and organic ingredients, hand-tossed by KC natives. Oh, and did I mention they were voted KC's favorite pizza? Place your order now for pickup or delivery at pizzataccio.com. Or stop in for a slice at any of their locations in OP, Midtown, North KC, St. Joe, Waldo, or Belton, and dive into the taste that's conquering Kansas City, one slice at a time.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, folks. I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today? We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other. And for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest, we believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This traffic is brought to you by Park & Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Slowdowns around a two-car crash southbound 435 at Front Street, and emergency vehicles northbound 35 to 7th Street trafficway. Just looking at delays both north and southbound 35 in that area. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service, always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services. All spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to play one thing for you guys. Earlier today, we had Spectre record why he thinks Patrick Mahomes will win NFL MVP.
If you shopped before the season like I did, I got Mahomes at 5-1. Now he's in that 4-1 range. Vegas is unflinching that he is in the MVP conversation, regardless of his statistical production through 8 games. He's still in third place behind Lamar and behind Josh Allen. And again, speaking of those two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes beat Lamar Jackson head-to-head this year and gets the opportunity to go play Josh Allen in primetime next week. If you look at the last 16 quarterbacks who've won MVP, they roughly average 14 wins a season over a 17-game schedule. And they're the 1 seed 81% of the time. Mahomes is going to check both those boxes. Well, what about his statistics? Jared Goff's been great, but his passing statistics aren't, gaudy. Lamar's been great. Josh Allen's been great. Both have better stats, no question. But if you talk about a narrative award like the MVP is, no Isaiah Pacheco, no Hollywood Brown, no Rashee Rice, and he'll have Hopkins for half the season, but Mahomes is doing this with a less cast of characters than both of those other quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, for the final 9 games of the season, gets to play the Bills in primetime, stand alone on Black Friday, Sunday Night Football, stand alone against the Texans on Saturday, and stand alone on Christmas. So 5 of the next 9 games of the final Chiefs calendar, Mahomes is playing by himself. And then 3 of the other games, Carolina, Cleveland, Las Vegas, dead in the water where he can wrap up good statistical numbers. Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the MVP conversation.
So that was our boss man, Steven Spector, in our new segment that we are doing called Spec Says. This is why, at least for me, I can't speak for every voter. I'm not even an MVP voter, so maybe my opinion on this doesn't even matter, and that's perfectly fine. I think it's going to be really hard for Patrick to win this award just because the numbers aren't there. And the 2 times that he's won it, the numbers have also been there. Everybody acknowledges that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, so I don't know if the hardware in that way proves it. He won it in 2018. He had a phenomenal season, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. He won it again in 2022, 5,000 yards, 40 touchdown passes the year after, or I guess the season after they trade Tyreek Hill in the offseason. So he's just had some massive numbers. The numbers aren't there. I mean, yards per attempt is down. Quarterback rating is down. Like, this is a lesser version of Mahomes that we've seen so far. So I think it's going to be kind of tough for him to win it in that way. But where I do agree with Spector is, man, the opportunities are still there. He was incredible on Monday night. He threw for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That version of Patrick Mahomes can win the award. Are we going to get that version more over the course of the second half of the season? I don't think the Chiefs fans care about this anymore. There was a time where the MVP conversation would have been the lead on the show, and you guys really wanted Pat to have that honor. I don't think that he cares about it anymore. This season is about one thing and one thing only, and it should always be about that, but we can acknowledge that it's just different with Kansas City this year. This season is all about, do they finish out the three-peat? They got a chance to do something that nobody's ever done before. Other quarterbacks have won 3 MVP awards before. Lamar might win 3 MVP awards this year. I wouldn't vote for Patrick Mahomes right now if you had to give out the award, but he is right. You play Buffalo next week. You got a Christmas Day game against Pittsburgh. You play Houston. There are certainly still opportunities for Mahomes to, I guess, earn my vote, so to speak. If I had to vote right now for MVP, I'd vote for Josh Allen. I think he has been the best and most consistent quarterback in the NFL this season. You know me, though. I'm usually open to giving it to other players. The best player in the league so far through the first half of the season has been Derrick Henry. He has been incredible. He's going to run for 2,000 yards again and probably have 20 rushing touchdowns to go along with it. So I would vote for Derrick Henry to win the award, but they have decided a long time ago that running backs don't win this award.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one